Welcome, and good evening. Settle in wherever you are. Let your shoulders fall a little lower than they were a moment ago, and let your breathing slow to the pace of someone who has nowhere else to be. Tonight we are going to travel a very long way back, into a world that is gone now, a world of warm shallow seas and slow rivers and forests that have no names you would know. We will walk softly through the twilight of that ancient earth, and we will meet the great hunters who lived there, not as monsters, but as quiet neighbors of the dusk. There is nothing here to fear. Every story tonight ends gently, the way the day itself ends, folding down into darkness and rest. So close your eyes if they are not already closed, and let the old world rise around you. If you enjoy listening to sleepy prehistoric dinosaur stories like this, subscribe. I post stories like this weekly. The light is going now, the way it always goes here, slowly and without complaint. You are standing at the soft edge of a great river, somewhere in the last age of the dinosaurs, on a wide green floodplain that has no name because there is no one yet to name it. The water moves past you the color of weak tea, brown and patient, carrying small leaves and the occasional feather down toward a sea you cannot see. The air is warm and thick and smells of mud and growing things, of crushed fern and wet bark, and underneath all of that, faintly, the green breath of the cypress swamp behind you. It is the end of an ordinary day in a world that will not see a human face for 66 million years. You are only a visitor here, and a quiet one, and the world does not mind you at all. Above you the sky has begun its long change from gold to amber to the deep bruised blue that comes before night. There are no harsh edges to it. The clouds are low and soft, stacked like folded cloth along the horizon, catching the last of the sun on their undersides so that they glow a warm rose color, the color of the inside of a shell. The heat of the day is lifting away into that sky, and for the first time since morning the air feels kind against your skin. Everything here is loosening. The trees, the water, the light itself, all of it is letting go of the day and settling toward rest, and you find that you are doing the same, without deciding to. The floodplain stretches out around you, flat and wide and patient. Here and there stand small islands of higher ground crowned with palms and ginkgos and tall conifers whose tops have gone black against the sky. Between them the land is low and lush, a tangle of horsetails and ferns and broad-leaved plants you have no words for, all of it heavy with the day's warmth. Insects drift up out of the grass in slow spirals, lit briefly gold as they cross the last shafts of sun. Somewhere a small stream feeds into the river with a sound so soft it is almost not a sound at all, more a feeling, a steady whisper under everything else. And there are voices in this evening, though none of them are human. From the reeds comes the low burping call of something amphibian, repeated and unhurried. Far off, across the water, a herd of horned dinosaurs is calling to one another as they graze, deep gentle sounds like distant cattle, like the lowing of animals coming home. The calls roll across the floodplain and fade and come again, a slow conversation with no urgency in it, the kind of sound that means all is well, that the day has been survived, that it is time now to eat and to settle and to sleep. You let those sounds wash over you and you breathe in time with them, slow and deep. It is into this gentle hour that she comes. You do not hear her at first, because she does not want to be heard, and a creature that has spent her whole life learning to move quietly can move very quietly indeed, even at her size. The first you know of her is a change in the other voices, a softening, a careful settling of the herd across the water. Then you see her. She steps out from between two stands of cypress at the river's far bend, and the whole evening seems to pause around her, and you understand without being told that this is the one the others have been listening for all along. She is enormous, and yet there is nothing hurried or harsh in the way she moves. She is a Tyrannosaurus, the great tyrant lizard, the largest hunter this floodplain has ever known, and she stands taller at the hip than the tallest tree you could reach. Her body is a long balanced line, the great head carried forward, the heavy tail held out behind to answer it, and she walks with a slow rocking grace, one massive foot and then the other, each step placed with the care of an animal who has learned exactly how much the soft ground will bear. Her skin is a dusk of colors, grays and browns and a deep mottled green along the spine, broken here and there with paler bands, and in the failing light she seems less like a single animal than like a piece of the landscape that has chosen to walk. She is old. You can see it in her, in the worn places along her flanks where the scales have gone pale and smooth, in a long-healed notch in the edge of her jaw, in the unhurried certainty of every movement. She has lived a long time in this country, longer than most of her kind ever manage, and she has nothing left to prove to anyone. She is not hunting now. The line of her body says so plainly, the relaxed set of the great head, the slow swing of the tail. She has eaten today, and well, and now in the cool of the evening she has come down to the river to drink and to stand in the last warmth of the light, the way an old creature does at the end of a good day. She lowers her head to the water. It is a long, slow folding of that enormous neck, deliberate as a drawbridge coming down, and when her jaws touch the surface the river barely stirs. She drinks in long quiet draughts, and you can hear it, the soft rhythmic pull of water, the small sounds of swallowing, and between draughts she lifts her head and lets the water run in bright threads from the corners of her mouth, and she gazes out across the floodplain with a calm that is almost like contentment. The herd across the river has gone quiet but not afraid. They know her. They have shared this country with her for years. They keep their distance, as is proper, but they do not flee, because they can read her as well as you can, and they know that tonight she is only thirsty, only old, only resting. Have you ever wondered what such a creature thinks about, in the cool quiet of an evening like this, with her belly full and the long day done? We cannot know, of course. But watch her a while longer, and the dark will show you a little more of who she is. The sun slips lower, and the gold drains out of the floodplain a shade at a time. The high islands of trees lose their color first, going to gray, then to black silhouette. The water keeps the light longest, holding a soft bronze sheen along its surface even as the banks darken, so that the river seems to glow faintly from within, a long pale ribbon laid across the deepening land. The Tyrannosaurus has finished drinking. She stands now at the river's edge with the water lapping gently around her feet, and she has turned her great head to face the west, where the last of the sun is going down behind the trees, and she is simply watching it go, the way you might. A breath of wind comes off the water, cool and clean, and it stirs the loose folds of skin along her throat and ruffles the short bristling feathers that run in a line down the back of her neck and spine, soft dark filaments that catch the last light and hold it for a moment. She closes her eyes against the wind, slowly, and opens them again. There is no menace in her at all just now. There is only a very large, very old animal at the end of her day, standing in the place she has stood 1,000 evenings, letting the cool come up out of the ground and the dark come down out of the sky, and being, for this little while, entirely at peace. Around her the floodplain prepares for night in its quiet methodical way. The grazing herds are moving toward their resting grounds on the higher islands, drifting across the darkening land in long loose lines, the young ones tucked in among the old. Small mammals, no larger than your hand, emerge from their burrows in the riverbank and begin their soft scurrying business among the roots, their eyes catching faint glints of the dying light. Pterosaurs that hunted the river all day are folding their long wings and settling into the high branches, becoming dark shapes among the leaves. Everything is finding its place. Everything is coming home. The Tyrannosaurus turns from the river at last and begins to walk, unhurried, along the bank toward a stand of tall conifers where the ground rises a little above the floodplain. This is where she will spend the night. You can tell by the ease of her, by the familiarity in her step, that she has slept here many times before, that this patch of high dry ground beneath the old trees is hers in the way that such places become ours, not by any claim but by long use, by the accumulation of quiet nights. She moves through the gathering dark like a ship coming slowly into harbor, and the small life of the floodplain parts gently before her and closes again behind, undisturbed. She reaches the rise and stands among the conifers, and for a long moment she does nothing at all but listen. Her head turns slowly, this way and that, reading the evening through senses far keener than yours. She can smell the herds bedded down across the water, the cool mineral breath of the river, the resin of the trees around her, the distant musk of others of her own kind moving through their own evenings somewhere out in the dark. She can hear the small mammals in the roots, the settling of birds, the 10,000 tiny sounds that together make the silence of a living world at night. And in all of it she finds nothing that troubles her. The country is as it should be. The night will be quiet. She lowers herself toward the ground. It is a slow and careful thing, the way a creature so large lies down. She folds first at the hocks, lowering her great hindquarters with deliberate grace, and then she brings the front of her body down, the heavy chest settling against the cool earth, and finally she lays the long head down upon the ground, the jaw resting among the soft needles that have fallen from the conifers over countless seasons. Her sides rise and fall with her breathing, slow and deep, and the warmth of the day still held in her body sighs up into the cooling air. She has made herself a hollow here over many nights, a worn place that fits her, and she settles into it the way you settle into a familiar bed, with a long breath and a loosening of everything that the day had drawn tight. The dark is nearly complete now. The west holds only a thin band of dull red, low along the horizon, and above it the first stars are coming out, faint and then clearer, scattered across a sky that no human eye will ever see in quite this arrangement, the old constellations of a young world. The river is silver under them. The floodplain has gone soft and formless and grey, all its detail melted into a single dim expanse, and over it the warm night air lies still and heavy and full of the smell of green. The frogs have begun their chorus in earnest now, a deep pulsing drone that rises and falls across the wetlands, the oldest lullaby in the world. The Tyrannosaurus sleeps. Or something close to sleep, for great predators do not sleep as you do, all at once and helpless. She drifts in and out, surfacing now and then to a half-waking awareness, turning an ear to the dark, and then sinking again. But for the most part she rests, deeply and well, her enormous body still as a fallen tree beneath the conifers, her breath the slow tide that it is, in and out, in and out. The bristling feathers along her spine lift and fall faintly with the night breeze. A small mammal, grown bold in the dark, crosses the ground not 3 paces from her resting head, and she does not stir. The night holds her gently, as it holds everything. And you find, watching her, that your own breathing has fallen into time with hers, the long slow rhythm of it, in through the warm dark air and out again, the same rhythm that moves the river and the frogs and the wind in the high-needled branches. There is a great quiet here at the heart of the ancient night, a quiet that has nothing to do with emptiness, for the world is full of soft life all around you, full of small movements and gentle sounds, and yet over all of it lies this deep settled peace, this sense that everything is exactly where it belongs and that nothing more is required of anyone until morning. Across the floodplain the herds sleep too, packed warm against one another on their high islands, the great horned heads laid down, the young breathing fast and shallow against their mother's flanks. The pterosaurs sleep in the trees, wrapped in their own wings. The little mammals sleep in their burrows in the riverbank, curled nose to tail. Even the river seems to sleep, moving on as it always moves but slower now, hushed, the bronze gone out of it and only the cold light of the stars left lying on its surface. The whole of this old warm world has lain down together under the night, predator and prey and all the small lives between, and there is no fear in any of it, only rest. It is strange and lovely to think how long this peace has already lasted, and how long it will last yet. This evening is not special. The Tyrannosaurus has slept 1,000 nights like this one beneath these same trees, and she will sleep 1,000 more, and her kind have lain down to rest at the end of warm days for longer than you can hold in your mind. The river has run down to its unseen sea every night for ages beyond counting. The stars have risen over this floodplain so many times that the number means nothing. You are watching one small evening in an unbroken chain of evenings stretching back and forward through the deep slow patience of the earth, and there is comfort in that, in being so small a part of something so vast and so calm. The great hunter shifts in her sleep, just slightly, the long tail sliding a few inches across the needled ground, and then she is still again. Her eyes are closed. The notched jaw rests open a little against the earth, and her breath stirs the fallen needles with each slow exhalation, a small warm wind that comes and goes, comes and goes. Whatever she dreams, if she dreams at all, it is nothing that troubles her. Her body has known this safety so many times that it does not need to be told again. She has come to the end of another day in her long life, and she has eaten, and she has drunk, and she has found her place beneath the old trees, and now she rests, and that is enough. That is everything. The night deepens around her, and around you. The red band has gone from the west now, and the sky is wholly dark and wholly full of stars, more stars than you have ever seen, spilled across the black in their thousands and their tens of thousands, and their faint cold light lies over the sleeping floodplain like a blessing. The frogs sing on. The river whispers on. The warm air lies still and sweet. And the old Tyrannosaurus sleeps beneath the conifers, vast and gentle in her rest, a queen of the twilight country who tonight asks nothing of the world but to be left to her dreaming. Let your mind rest there beside her for a while, in that safe and ancient dark. There is nothing you need to do. There is nowhere you need to go. The night will keep its watch, as it has always kept it, and the morning is a long way off, and between now and then there is only this, only the slow breath of a sleeping world, only the quiet, only the rest. Stay as long as you like in the country of the great river. The old hunter sleeps, and the herd sleep, and the stars will slowly overhead, and all is well, and all is well, and all is well. The dark over the floodplain is full and soft now, and the more you let your eyes rest in it the more it gives back to you. There is no true blackness here. The river holds a long pale gleam of starlight down its center. The high islands of trees stand as deeper shapes against the deep sky. The low mist that has begun to rise from the warm water lies in pale drifting sheets across the lower ground, and through it the shapes of the night move slowly and gently, the small mammals about their soft business, a heron-like bird wading the shallows on careful stilted legs, the slow turning of the world toward morning. The old Tyrannosaurus breathes on beneath her conifers, and her breathing is the largest slow thing in all the quiet, a deep tidal sound, in and out, that seems to set the rhythm for the whole sleeping country. You can hear, if you listen, the faint creak and settle of her great ribs as they rise and fall, the soft stir of the bristled feathers along her spine when the night wind crosses her, the occasional long sigh as some deep comfort moves through her in her sleep. She is so large, and so still, and so utterly at ease, that simply being near her is a kind of reassurance, the way it is reassuring to sit in a room with someone who is sleeping soundly and well. A little way off, where the riverbank curves, a family of small horned dinosaurs has bedded down for the night in a hollow among the ferns, and you can just make out the soft pale shapes of them, packed close, the young ones tucked between the old. Now and then one of them makes a small drowsy sound, a low murmur, half a call and half a sigh, and another answers it, and then they are quiet again. They are not afraid of the great hunter sleeping so near. They have shared these nights with her all their lives. The floodplain is large enough for all of them, and the dark is for resting, and they all know it, down in their old slow blood. The mist thickens and the stars seem to swim a little behind it, soft and blurred, and the warm air grows heavier and stiller, and the smell of the green world rises all around you, mud and water and crushed fern and the cool mineral breath of the river. An hour passes, or what would be an hour if anyone here were counting hours, and nothing changes but the slow wheel of the stars and the slow drift of the mist and the slow tide of the sleeping queen's breath. Time moves so gently here that it hardly seems to move at all, and there is nothing in it that asks anything of you, nothing to hurry toward, nothing to leave behind. You think, drowsily, of how many creatures are sleeping within a mile of where you sit, and the thought is a warm one. The herds on their islands. The pterosaurs in their high branches. The little mammals in their burrows in the bank. The frogs gone quiet at last in the reeds. The fish hanging still in the dark deep channels. The old queen beneath her trees. All of them breathing, all of them resting, all of them carried together through the warm dark toward the morning, a whole world of sleepers held in the one great quiet, and you among them now, one more small breathing thing settling down into the peace of the night. The river makes its soft endless sound at the edge of everything, the patient sound of water going where water goes, and it is the kind of sound that loosens something in the chest, that says there is nothing to hold on to and nothing to fear in the letting go, that the current knows the way and will carry everything safely down through the dark to the sea. You let your breath go with it. You let the warm air hold you. You let the great slow breathing of the sleeping queen draw your own breath deeper and slower, down past thought, down toward the soft floor of sleep. Somewhere far across the floodplain another of her kind calls once into the dark, a long low rolling sound, deep as distant thunder but gentle, a sound that means only here I am, all is well, and the old queen beneath the conifers stirs the smallest amount in her sleep, and does not wake, and her breathing never breaks its slow rhythm. The call fades. The frogs take up their drone again. The mist drifts. The stars will on. And the warm dark folds a little closer around the whole sleeping country, around the herds and the hunters and the small soft things in the reeds, around the old queen and around you, holding all of it, holding all of you, safe and still and quiet through the long kind night. There is a great gentleness at the heart of this ancient world that the old stories never told. The hunter and the hunted lie down within sight of one another and sleep, because the night belongs to no one and to everyone, because rest is the one thing every creature shares, because when the light goes and the cool comes the whole quarrelsome business of the day is simply set aside and the world agrees, without a word, to be still. You are resting now in the middle of that old agreement, that nightly truce as old as life itself, and there is no safer place to be. A pair of small pterosaurs that hunted the river all the long day come gliding low over the dark water now, late and unhurried, their thin wings hissing softly in the warm air, and they settle at last among the high branches of a cypress across the channel, folding themselves away into dark angular shapes against the stars, and then they too are still, and the river is quiet again but for its own soft endless voice. Let your eyes close now, if they are not closed already, and let the warm dark of the floodplain settle over you the way it has settled over the herds and the hunters and all the small soft life of the river country. Feel the warmth still rising from the ground, and the cool coming gentle from the water, and the heavy sweet green air lying soft against your skin, and let your breath go slow and deep, in with the warm dark, out with the warm dark, slower and softer, down toward sleep. Low in the east a soft glow has begun to gather behind the dark line of the trees, and slowly, slowly, the moon lifts clear of the floodplain horizon, a great pale gold moon, swollen and calm, and lays a second shining road across the dark river beside the road of starlight, so that the water carries two soft lights now down toward the unseen sea. The old queen sleeps on beneath her conifers in the gentle moonlight, her great flanks silvered where the light falls upon it, her slow breath stirring the fallen needles, deep in her untroubled rest. The moonlight spreads soft and pale across the whole floodplain, gilding the tops of the ferns, gleaming on the still channels, laying long soft shadows from the high islands of trees, and the warm dark grows luminous and gentle and dim, and the frogs sing on in the silvered reeds, and the river carries its two soft roads of light down through the quiet night, and everything lies bathed in the calm pale glow, sleeping, breathing, at peace, while the moon climbs slow and patient up the wide and ancient sky. And as the moon climbs higher over the floodplain, you find yourself thinking, drowsily, of all the creatures sleeping within sound of the river tonight, and the thought is a warm one and a gentle one. The great old queen beneath her conifers. The horned herds packed close upon their high islands. The little mammals curled nose to tail in their burrows in the bank. The pterosaurs folded dark among the cypress branches. The frogs gone quiet at last in the silvered reeds. All of them breathing, all of them resting, all of them carried together through the warm moonlit dark toward a morning that is still a long, long way off, and you among them now, one more small breathing thing settling softly down into the deep peace of the ancient night, held by the same gentle dark that holds them all. And when at last you are ready to drift on, the dark of this floodplain will give way to another country and another evening, where a different hunter walks beside different waters under a different sky. For the world of the deep past is wide, and every corner of it has its own twilight and its own peace. But for now, stay. Stay with the breathing of the river and the breathing of the great old queen beneath her trees. There is no hurry. There never was. Somewhere far to the south, where broad rivers braid across a hot green land, another evening is already falling, but that is for later, and later can wait. Drift now, gently, across many miles and many ages, to a place far warmer and far older, where a great slow river system spreads itself across a green and golden land. This is the country we might one day call North Africa, though it wears none of the faces you would know. Here there is no desert, only water and water and water, a vast braided delta of channels and lagoons and reed-fringed shallows, threading through forests of strange trees toward a warm shallow sea. The evening here comes slowly, the way it does in hot countries, the heat letting go of the land by inches, and the light turning thick and honeyed as it sinks. You are standing on a low sandbank at the edge of one of the broad still channels, and the water before you is so calm it holds the whole sky. And what a sky it holds! The sun is low and enormous over the western reeds, a soft red coin sinking through layered haze, and it has set the whole channel alight, so that the water lies before you like a sheet of beaten copper, perfectly still, broken only here and there by the slow rings of a fish rising or a dragonfly touching down. The far bank is a black fringe of palms and tree ferns against the burning sky, and their reflection lies upside down in the water, doubled and dreaming, so that you cannot quite tell where the land ends and its image begins. The air is heavy and warm and smells of mud and salt and the green rot of the reed beds, a rich living smell, the smell of a world brimming with more life than it knows what to do with. It is loud here in the gentle way that wetlands are loud at dusk, a deep layered hum of sound that wraps around you and somehow makes the quiet quieter. Insects drone in their millions over the water. Frogs and things like frogs call from the reeds in 100 different voices, clicks and croaks and long sighing whistles. Small flying reptiles skim low over the channel, snatching insects from the air with quick neat movements, their thin cries threading through the dusk. Somewhere a heron-like creature stalks the shallows on stilt legs, lifting each foot with exquisite slowness, and far off the warm sea makes its endless soft sound against the edge of the land. All of it together is a kind of music, slow and shapeless and endless, and it asks nothing of you but that you let it in. You have come here to wait for the river's great hunter, and you do not have to wait long. He announces himself first not with sound but with stillness, the way the small life of the channel grows quiet and watchful in a spreading circle, the herons freezing, the flying reptiles lifting away. And then you see the sail. It rises from the water far down the channel, a tall curved crest of skin and bone catching the last red light along its upper edge, glowing like a banner, like the sail of some impossible ship, and beneath it the long dark shape of its owner moves through the shallows with the slow certainty of a creature entirely at home. He is a Spinosaurus, the spined lizard, and there has never been a stranger or more magnificent hunter in all the long story of the dinosaurs. He is longer even than the great tyrant of the northern rivers, longer than any meat-eater that has ever walked, and yet he carries his length low and level, the long crocodile head held out before him just above the surface, the great sail rising from his back like a thing half living and half sculpture. His body is a deep slate color, dark above and paler below, and it glistens with water, for he is more at home in the river than out of it. This is his element, these warm still channels, and he moves through them the way you move through the air, without thinking, without effort, perfectly suited to the world that made him. He is not hunting in any urgent way. He is fishing, which for him is a slow and patient art, and there is something deeply restful in watching it. He wades out into the deeper part of the channel until the water rises along his flanks, until only the upper third of him and the great glowing sail remain above the surface, and then he goes still. Utterly still. The long head lowers until his jaw rests just at the waterline, and his eyes, set high on his skull for exactly this, watch the bright water with infinite patience. The ripples of his wading spread out and fade. The channel grows smooth again around him. And he waits, a dark patient island in the copper water, as the light burns down behind the reeds. What is it like, do you think, to hunt by such stillness, to stand in the warm water as the day ends and simply wait, letting the river bring your supper to you? Watch a moment longer, and the dusk will show you. A fish moves near him, a great silver thing as long as your arm, sculling slowly through the shallows in search of its own evening meal, unaware. The Spinosaurus does not lunge. He drifts. His whole long body slides forward through the water without a ripple, the paddle of his tail moving in slow deep strokes beneath the surface, and his head turns by the smallest degree to keep the fish before him. And then, when the moment is exactly right, his jaws open and close, quick and clean, a single economical movement, and the fish is taken, and the water barely stirs. He lifts his head and tips it back and you see the silver flash sliding down his throat, and then he is still again, watching the water, waiting for the next. There is no violence in it that you can feel. It is only an old animal eating its supper in the cool of the evening, as gently as anything in the world. The sun touches the reeds now and begins to vanish into them, and the copper light on the water deepens to red, to wine, to a dusky rose, and the channel that was so bright a moment ago grows soft and dim. The black fringe of the far bank loses its sharp edge and becomes a blur of deeper darkness against the fading sky. The first stars prick out overhead, low and warm, and their faint reflections appear in the still water among the last red gleams, so that the channel seems for a while to hold two skies, one going dark above and one going dark below. The Spinosaurus stands in the midst of it, between the two darknesses, the great sail a black curve now against the last of the light, and he has stopped fishing. He has had enough. He stands and lets the evening settle over him. A breath of warm wind comes down the channel, and it ripples the surface and stirs the reeds into a long sighing rustle, and it moves across the great sail so that the loose skin of it trembles faintly. The Spinosaurus closes his eyes. He is feeling the cool come at last, the blessed cool of the evening after the long blazing day, and the sail that gathered the sun's heat all day now sheds it slowly into the gathering dark, and the comfort of that runs all through him, you can see it, in the loosening of his long body, in the slow sinking of his head toward the water. He has eaten. The day is done. The river is his, and the river is calm, and there is nothing now but the warm dark and the rest it brings. He turns and wades slowly toward the bank, toward a low shelf of firm sand half screened by reeds where the water is shallow and warm, and there he settles himself down into the shallows the way a great crocodile settles, lowering his long body until it rests half in the water and half on the sand, the sail tilting over to one side, the long head laid down upon the wet sand with the jaw just clear of the lapping water. The shallows close warmly around him. The reeds screen him from the channel. And there, cradled between the water and the land in the place where he is most himself, the strange and magnificent hunter of the river composes himself for the night. All around him the delta is doing the same. The herons have gone to roost in the low trees, hunched dark shapes among the leaves. The flying reptiles have folded their wings and hung themselves up among the high branches like strange fruit. The fish have sunk to the deep cool channels to wait out the dark. Even the insects have quieted, their endless drone thinning to a few persistent voices, and into the space they leave comes the deeper, slower sound of the night, the sound of the warm sea far off, the sound of the wind in the reeds, the sound of the great river moving and moving and moving toward the sea as it has moved for 10 million years and will move for 10 million more. The light is wholly gone now. The west holds only the faintest memory of red, low and dull, and above it the sky has filled with stars, soft and many and warm, and the warm air lies heavy and still over the dark water. The channel is black glass now, holding the stars, and across it lies a long pale road of starlight, broken now and then by the slow swirl of something moving in the deep. The reeds are black walls on either hand. And in his warm bed of shallow water and wet sand, screened by the reeds, the Spinosaurus lies with his eyes closed and his great sail tilted to the night, breathing slow and deep, more peaceful than any creature his size has any right to be. He does not sleep all at once, any more than the tyrant of the north did. The river is his life and he never wholly leaves it, and so all through the night some part of him stays half awake, listening to the water, feeling the small currents move against his flanks, knowing the channel through his skin the way you know your own bed in the dark. But he rests, deeply, the long body still and heavy in the warm shallows, the breath going slow in and slow out, and the warmth of the day still sighing gently from the cooling sail. And the river holds him, and rocks him, the way it has held and rocked his kind since long before this evening and will long after, the patient warm water that is mother and home and grave to all the great fishers of this drowned green world. You sit on your sandbank in the dark and you listen to him breathe, and to the river breathe, and to the warm wind in the reeds, and you find that your own breath has slowed and deepened to match the slow tide of it all, in with the wind through the reeds, out with the lap of the water on the sand, in, out, in, out. There is no hurry anywhere in this old delta night. The river has all the time there is, and it spends it freely, drop by drop and hour by hour, in no rush to reach its sea. And lying here at the edge of it, in the warm dark, with the stars on the water and the great hunter sleeping in the shallows, you feel that you have all the time there is too, and that it is good, and that there is nothing to do with it but rest. How many evenings, you wonder, has this river known? How many slow red sunsets have burned down behind these reeds, how many tides of stars have wheeled across this water, how many great-sailed hunters have settled into these warm shallows at the end of their long days and slept the warm nights through? More than you could count if you counted all your life. This evening is one bead on a string of evenings longer than the mind can follow, each one like this one, calm and warm and full of soft sound, each one ending in the same deep settled peace. And to lie here is to lie inside that long patience, to be held, for a little while, in the unhurried heart of the deep past, where nothing is urgent and nothing is lost and every day ends, gently, in rest. The Spinosaurus stirs once in the shallows, the long tail sliding through the water with a soft slow sound, and then he is still again, his head laid back upon the wet sand, his sail dark against the stars. A fish jumps somewhere out in the black channel and falls back with a small clean splash, and the rings of it spread out and fade, and the water is still glass again, holding the stars. The reeds sigh. The sea murmurs far off. And the warm night lies over the whole green drowned country, over the sleeping hunter and the sleeping herons and the deep cool fish in the deep cool channels, a great soft blanket of dark and warmth and quiet, tucking the world in toward morning. Stay here a while, in the warm dark by the still water. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be, and no part of you that is not welcome to rest. The river will keep its slow patient watch. The stars will their slow patient way. And the great-sailed hunter will sleep in the warm shallows where he has always slept, dreaming whatever such creatures dream, asking nothing of the night but its kindness, and finding it, as he always finds it, here at the gentle end of the day. The warm delta night deepens around you, and the stillness of it is a living stillness, full of soft far sounds that only make the quiet deeper. The sea murmurs at the edge of the world. The reeds whisper when the warm wind moves them and falls silent when it dies. Now and then a fish breaks the black glass of the channel and falls back with a small clean sound, and the rings spread and fade, and the stars settle again on the smooth water. The frogs and the things like frogs keep up their slow chorus from the reed beds, clicks and croaks and long low sighing notes, a sound so steady and so soft that after a while you stop hearing it as sound at all and feel it only as a kind of warmth, a presence, the breathing of the marsh itself. The Spinosaurus lies in his warm bed of shallow water and wet sand, screened by the reeds, and the river moves gently against his flanks all night long, and through his skin he feels its every small current and eddy, the living pulse of the water that is his true home. Even half asleep he is wholly at peace here, more at peace than he could ever be on dry land, cradled in the warm shallows the way a child is cradled, rocked by the slow breath of the river. His great sail tilts dark against the stars. His long crocodile head rests upon the wet sand with the water lapping softly at his jaw. And his breathing goes slow and deep and even, in time with the lapping of the water, in time with the whisper of the reeds. The warmth of the day is going out of the land now, but it never quite goes out of the water. The river holds the day's heat long into the dark, and the shallows where the great hunter rests stay warm as blood all night, a warmth that rises gently around him and around you and makes the dark feel soft and kind. The mist that rises from the channels is a warm mist, and it drifts in slow pale coils over the black water and among the reeds, blurring the stars, softening every edge, until the whole delta seems to float in a warm dim dream, half water and half air and half starlight, with no hard edges anywhere and nothing solid to hold to and nothing that needs holding. A heron-like bird stalks the far shallows on its long legs, slow and patient even now, lifting each foot clear of the black water and setting it down without a ripple, hunting the small fish that come up to the warm surface in the dark. You watch it a while, its slow deliberate stepping, its endless patience, and there is something deeply restful in it, in a creature so wholly given over to slowness, to stillness, to the long quiet wait. The whole delta is full of such patience tonight. The river is patient. The reeds are patient. The great sailed hunter is patient even in his sleep. And the patience of all of them together lies over the warm dark like a blessing, and slows your own heart, and quiets your own mind. Far out across the marsh, where the channels widen toward the sea, the water glows faintly with its own cold light, a soft greenish shimmer that comes and goes as small living things stir the surface, the old light of the sea creeping up into the river. It lies in pale glimmering patches on the black water, drifting, fading, kindling again, and the great hunter's sail stands black against it, and the stars hang over it, and the warm mist drifts across it, and the whole scene is so soft and so strange and so quiet that it seems less like a place than like something seen in the last moments before sleep, when the world has begun to come apart into light and warmth and gentle motion. The night is long here, and it spends itself slowly, drop by warm drop, and there is no hurry in any part of it. The tide turns somewhere out at the river's mouth, and a slow swell comes up the channels, lifting the warm water a hand's breadth higher against the reeds, and then it ebbs again, and the great hunter shifts in his sleep as the water rises and settles as it falls, rocked by the breathing of the distant sea. You feel it too, that slow rise and fall, that great slow tidal rhythm underneath the night, and your own breath finds its way into it, rising and falling with the water, with the sea, with the whole slow breathing of the warm dark world. There is no creature here that is not at rest. The herons grow still at last and tuck their heads beneath their wings. The flying things hang folded in the low trees. The fish hang motionless in the deep warm channels. The frog's chorus thins and softens as the night wears on, until only a few faithful voices keep it up, far off, gentle, a sound to sleep by. And the great sailed hunter sleeps in his warm bed of water and sand, dreaming the slow green dreams of the river, while the warm mist drifts and the strange light glimmers and the stars will slowly over the drowned and dreaming land. How good it is, to be warm in the dark by quiet water. It is one of the oldest comforts there is, older than this delta, older than the great hunter, as old as the first living thing that ever drew breath in a warm shallow sea. To rest by water in the warm dark is to come home to something the body remembers from before there were bodies, a deep and wordless ease, a letting go all the way down. Let yourself have it now. Let the warm water rock you. Let the slow tide carry you. Let the great hunter's breathing and the river's breathing and the sea's breathing all draw your own breath down into the warm dark heart of the night. Far out where the channels widen toward the warm sea, the tide has turned in the dark, and a slow swell comes feeling its way up the delta, lifting the still water a hand's breadth higher against the reeds, then letting it sink again, a vast slow breathing of the distant ocean reaching all the way inland to where the great hunter sleeps. He feels it through the water against his flanks, the rise and the fall of it, and it rocks him deeper into his rest, the way a cradle rocks, the way the sea has rocked its sleepers since the beginning. A great fish moves slowly through the deep channel beyond the reeds, a dim pale shape sliding through the dark water, and the starlight on the surface bends and shivers above it and then settles again. The Spinosaurus does not stir. He has eaten his fill in the bright dusk, and the river is full of fish, and there will be more in the morning, and there is nothing in the warm dark night that he needs or wants but this, the warm shallows, the screening reeds, the slow tide rocking him, the deep good sleep. The frogs of the delta sing in their hundreds from the reed beds, near and far, high and low, a vast soft overlapping chorus that rises and falls across the dark water like a tide of its own, and there is no fear in it and no urgency, only the old contented song the marsh sings to itself every warm night of the world. To lie and listen to it is to feel held by sound itself, wrapped in a soft warm blanket of gentle voices, every one of them saying, in its own small way, that all is well, that the night is kind, that it is time now to rest. The warm mist thickens over the dark channels until the stars swim soft and blurred above it and the reeds stand half dissolved in pale drifting vapor, and the whole drowned green country seems to float now between water and sky, warm and dim and dreaming, with no hard edge anywhere and nothing solid to hold to and nothing at all that needs holding. Let the warm shallows rock you the way they rock the great sailed hunter sleeping in his bed of water and sand. Let the slow tide of the distant sea, reaching all the way up the dark channels, lift you gently and let you sink, lift you gently and let you sink, and let your breath go with it, rising and falling, slower and softer, down into the warm dark heart of the delta night. Far out across the dark delta, where the channels widen toward the warm sea, the water has begun to glow with its own faint cold light, a soft greenish shimmer kindling and fading along the surface as the small living things of the sea stir in the warm shallows, and it lies in pale drifting patches on the black water beneath the stars, glowing and dimming, the old soft light of the sea breathing slow in the dark. The great sailed hunter sleeps on in his warm bed of water and sand, his dark sail tilted to the glimmering night, and the warm tide rocks him slow and gentle, and the reeds whisper soft above him, and the strange cold light of the sea glimmers far out across the channels, and the whole drowned green country lies warm and dim and dreaming beneath the wheeling stars, breathing with the slow breath of the distant sea, at peace through the long warm night. And later, when you are ready to move on, the warm delta will fade behind you, and the dark will carry you somewhere cooler and drier, to a wide land of dunes and starlight where small swift hunters settle among the cooling sand. But there is no need to go yet. The river is so warm, and the night is so deep, and the breathing of the world is so slow and so kind. Rest here as long as you like. The sail stands black against the stars, and the water lies still, and far across the dunes a colder country waits to show you its own gentle dusk, but not yet. Not yet. The small hunters and the cooling sand. Let the warm river fade behind you now, and let the dark carry you east and back through long ages, to a country of a very different kind. Here the air is dry and clean, and the land rolls away in long low dunes and wide flats of pale sand, dotted with islands of green where streams run underground and surface in quiet pools. This is the country we might call the Gobi, in the age of the dinosaurs, a high desert of red and golden sand under an enormous sky. The day here is hot and bright and merciless, but the day is ending now, and as the sun goes down the whole world changes its nature, softening, cooling, growing kind. You stand on the windward slope of a great dune, your feet in sand still warm from the day, and you watch the light go amber over a land that is letting out a long-held breath. The sun is a deep orange now, swollen and soft as it sinks toward the rim of the world, and it lays a warm slanting light across the dunes that turns every ridge to gold and every hollow to blue shadow. The sand is rippled by the wind into long even waves, and as the light comes low across them each ripple casts its own small shadow, so that the whole surface of the desert seems to be made of fine corduroy, ridge and shadow, running away to the horizon. The wind has dropped, as it does at evening, and the sand that flew all day has settled, and the air has gone clear and still and faintly cool, and it carries the dry clean smell of warm stone and sage and the far-off green smell of the hidden water. It is quiet here in a way the river country never was. The desert keeps its sounds small and far apart, and between them lie long pools of silence in which you can hear your own blood and your own breath. A beetle clicks across the sand near your foot. Somewhere a small reptile rustles into its burrow for the night. Far off, a lizard-like cry rises once and is not repeated. The wind comes and goes in soft long breaths over the dune tops, and that breathing of the wind is the largest sound in all the evening, a vast gentle sighing that rises and falls and never quite stops, the sound of the desert settling itself for the night. You feel the cool coming up out of the sand as the sun goes down, and you are glad of it, the way every living thing in this country is glad of it. Down in the green hollow at the foot of the dune, where a small clear pool lies cupped among tamarisk and reeds, the day's last business is being done. Small animals come and go at the water's edge in the failing light, drinking quickly and slipping away. And there, half hidden in the long shadows of the tamarisk, a little family of hunters is settling toward sleep. They are velociraptors, the swift thieves, and they are nothing at all like the cold-scaled monsters of old story. They are small, no larger than a big dog, light and quick and lovely, and they are covered head to tail in feathers, soft russet and barred brown feathers that the low sun turns to copper and bronze, so that in the amber light they look less like reptiles than like strange long-tailed birds come down to roost. There are 4 of them, and they have hunted well today, and now in the cool of the evening they are doing what all small warm creatures do at the end of a long day, which is to gather close and groom and settle and make themselves comfortable for the dark. One of them, the largest, stands a little apart at the edge of the shadow, the long feathered tail held out straight behind for balance, the narrow head turning this way and that as it watches the desert dim. It is keeping a loose easy watch, not from fear but from habit, the way one member of any group keeps half an eye on the world while the others rest. The light catches the sickle claw lifted clear of the sand on each foot, and the soft sheen of the feathers along its arms, and the bright dark eye, alert and calm. The other 3 are nestled together in a hollow they have scratched in the cool sand beneath the tamarisk, and they are preening, running their delicate jaws through their feathers and through one another's feathers with small careful movements, smoothing, cleaning, settling each feather into its place. It is a tender thing to watch, this grooming, these small fierce hunters tending one another so gently in the dusk, and there is a soft sound to it, a faint rustling and a low contented chewing deep in their throats, a sound like a cat's purr but lighter, a sound that means safety, that means home, that means the day is done and the night is coming and we are together and all is well. What must it be, you wonder, to be so small and so swift in so vast a country, to have run all day under the burning sky and now, at last, to fold yourself down among your own kind in the cool blue shadow and let the night come. Watch them a little longer, and the gathering dark will tell you. The sun touches the horizon, and the desert holds its breath. For a few long moments the whole sky is on fire, the high clouds blazing orange and pink and gold, the dunes glowing as if lit from within, the little pool in the hollow turned to a dish of molten copper. And then the sun slides down behind the rim of the world, and the fire begins to cool, the gold draining away to rose, the rose to violet, the violet to the deep clear blue of the desert twilight. The dunes lose their gold and go to gray and then to soft silver blue, and the shadows in the hollows deepen and join and spread, and the cool comes flooding up out of the sand now in earnest, and you can feel the whole land sighing with relief as the long heat of the day finally lets go. The little hunter keeping watch lifts its head and tastes the cooling air, and something in it eases. The danger of the day, such as it was, is passing with the light, and the night that comes will be cold and clear and quiet, and there is nothing in it to fear. It gives a low soft call, barely more than a breath, and turns from its watching, and steps down into the hollow to join the others. They make room for it among them without stirring much, a shifting and a settling, a rearranging of warm feathered bodies, and it folds its long legs beneath it and tucks its narrow head back along its side, beneath the soft feathers of its own shoulder, and the long tail curls around the whole little group like a drawn line, and they are one warm knot of sleeping hunters in the blue dusk, breathing slow, chewing low, sinking down toward sleep. The stars are coming out now, and in this clear high desert air they come out as they come out nowhere else, sharp and bright and countless, crowding the darkening sky from rim to rim. There is no haze here to soften them, no warm river mist, only the clean dry air, and through it the stars burn cold and clear and very near, until the whole sky is thick with them, a great drift of light flung across the black, and beneath it the silver dunes roll away silent and still. The little pool in the hollow holds a scatter of the brightest stars, trembling faintly when a breath of wind crosses it, and the tamarisk stands black and still around the sleeping family, and the cool deepens toward cold, and the desert night settles in. It is wonderfully quiet now. The wind has nearly died, and what is left of it moves so softly over the dune tops that it makes hardly any sound at all, only the faintest dry whisper, only a breath. The small day creatures are all gone to their burrows. The night creatures have not yet fully woken. There is a long-held hush over the whole desert, a vast and gentle silence, broken only now and then by the tiny click of cooling sand, or the soft chirr of one of the sleeping hunters shifting in its dreams, or the far thin cry of some night bird out across the dunes, a single note, and then silence again, deeper than before. The four velociraptors sleep their light warm sleep, pressed close together in their scratched hollow beneath the tamarisk, and the desert cold draws down around them, and their feathers keep them warm. This is what the feathers are for, as much as for anything. They are not for show and not for flight but for exactly this, for the cold clear nights of the high desert, for holding the warmth of the small swift body close against the chill of the dark. And so the night that would kill a naked creature only makes these soft hunters draw a little closer, tuck their heads a little deeper, and sleep a little sounder, warm in their feathers in the cold starlight, safe among their own. You sit in the cool sand on the slope of the dune above them and you watch them sleep, and you watch the stars, and you listen to the great silence of the desert night, and you feel your own breath go slow and deep and quiet to match it. There is a particular peace to a desert at night, a clean wide emptiness that is not lonely but restful, a sense of enormous space and enormous quiet all around you, of a sky so full of stars that it seems to press gently down upon the land, of a silence so deep that it holds you the way deep water holds you. And in the midst of all that vastness, that one small warm knot of sleeping life beneath the tamarisk, breathing softly, dreaming whatever swift bright dream such creatures dream, holds your attention and your heart, small and safe and infinitely dear. How long has the desert kept its evenings this way? Longer than the dunes themselves, which the wind builds up and tears down and builds again over ages without end. The sand you sit in tonight was somewhere else 1,000 years ago and will be somewhere else again, but the evening it makes is always the same evening, the same slow cooling, the same blue dusk, the same crowding stars, the same small creatures gathering close against the same coming cold. The little hunters who sleep below you tonight are the children of countless nights exactly like this one, and they carry the long memory of the desert in their warm blood, the old knowing that says when the heat lets go and the light fails, it is time to gather, time to settle, time to sleep. One of the sleeping family stirs and lifts its head a moment, blinking at the stars with one dark eye, and then it tucks itself back down among the others and is still. The chewing rises for a moment and then sinks again to silence. The cold deepens. The stars will slowly overhead, so slowly you cannot see them move and yet they move, the whole great wheel of them turning above the silent dunes as it has turned for all the nights of the world. And the four small hunters sleep on, warm in their feathers, safe in their hollow, dreaming under the desert stars, while the night keeps its long clear watch over the rolling silver land. Rest here in the cool and the quiet for a while, on the slope above the sleeping family, under the enormous starry sky. There is nothing you need to do. The desert asks nothing of you but that you be still, and that is easy here, where everything is still, where the only motion in all the world is the slow turning of the stars and the soft rise and fall of small feathered bodies breathing in the dark. Let the cool sand hold you. Let the great silence fill you. Let the slow breathing of the little hunters carry your own breathing down, and down, and down, toward the same deep rest they have found beneath the tamarisk. And when at last the dark moves you on from this clear high country, it will carry you back through deeper ages still, to an older world of fern prairies and slow wide rivers, where a different and far larger hunter is lying down to rest at the end of a Jurassic day. But there is no need to leave the desert yet. The stars are so bright, and the silence is so deep, and the little hunters sleep so soundly in their warm feathered heap below you. Stay a while in the cool blue dark. The cold clean night will keep you, the way it keeps the small swift sleepers in the sand, and the older country will still be there, beyond the dunes and the ages, whenever you are ready to drift on toward it. The desert cold deepens as the night goes on, clean and dry and still, and the stars above the dunes burn brighter and harder and nearer than before, until the whole sky is a single vast scattering of light, more stars than the mind can hold, flung from rim to rim across the absolute black. There is no moon, or only the thinnest pairing of one low on the horizon, and so the stars have the sky to themselves, and their cold light lies over the silver dunes so softly that you could read the shape of the whole sleeping desert by it, ridge and hollow, rolling silent and pale away to the edge of the world. The little family of feathered hunters sleeps on in their scratched hollow beneath the tamarisk, curled close, one warm knot of breathing life in all that cold wide emptiness. Their feathers have puffed out fuller against the deepening chill, so that they look softer and rounder now than they did in the daylight, small fierce things turned to gentle bundles of down in the cold starlight. Now and then one of them shifts, or makes a small drowsy chewing sound deep in its throat, and another answers it without waking, and they press a little closer together, and grow still again. The cold cannot reach them through their feathers and through the warmth of one another. They are made for these nights, and these nights hold no fear for them. The pool in the green hollow has gone black and still, a dish of darkness cupped among the pale reeds, and it holds the brightest of the stars in its smooth surface, so that there seem to be stars below the desert as well as above it, a double sky, with the dunes hung silver between. Now and then a breath of the night wind crosses the water and the stars in it tremble and scatter and slowly gather themselves again. A small night creature comes down to the water's edge to drink, quick and wary, its eyes catching the starlight, and then it slips away into the dark, and the pool is still again, holding its stars. The silence of the desert at this hour is the deepest silence in all the world, deeper than the forests, deeper than the rivers, a vast clean emptiness of sound that is not lonely but somehow restful, as though the world had grown so quiet that you could finally hear it resting. There is only the faintest of sounds left now, the tiny tick of the cooling sand as it gives back the last of the day's heat, the soft sigh of the dying wind along the dune tops, the small chirr of a sleeping hunter turning in its dreams, and far, far off, once, the thin call of some night creature out across the dunes, a single note that only makes the silence afterward more complete. You sit in the cold clean dark on the slope of the great dune, and you look up into the crowded stars, and the sheer vastness of the sky above the silent desert fills you with a feeling that is half wonder and half peace, the feeling of being very small beneath something very large and very calm. There is room here, endless room, room enough for all the worry in the world to drift away into and be lost, and the longer you sit beneath the great wheeling sky the lighter you feel, the emptier of everything but quiet, until there is almost nothing left of you but breath and starlight and the soft sound of the sleeping hunters in the hollow below. The stars will their slow way overhead, so slowly you cannot catch them moving, and yet by the deep of the night they have swung far around, the whole great pattern of them turning above the silent dunes as it has turned every night since the first night of the world. The little family sleeps beneath their wheel, warm in their feathers, dreaming their swift bright dreams. The pool holds its double sky. The dunes lie silver and still. And the great cold clean peace of the desert night lies over all of it, over the sleepers and the sand and the stars in the dark water, a peace as wide as the sky and as deep as the dark. It is strange to think how warm the small sleeping things are, in the midst of so much cold, how the night that would freeze a naked creature only makes them draw closer and sleep sounder. There is a lesson in it, if you want one, though the desert does not insist, it is enough to know that warmth gathers warmth, that the small and the soft survive the cold wide dark by holding close to one another, that the night is only kind to those who let themselves be held. The little hunters know it in their blood. They have always known it. And tonight, drowsing on the cold slope above them, you know it too. Let the great silence hold you now, the way the warm hollow holds the sleeping family. There is nothing out there in the wide dark to fear, only sand and stars and stillness, only the slow turning of the sky, only the deep clean peace of the desert at rest. Let the cold air settle you. Let the vast quiet empty you of everything but breath. Let the soft chewing of the small warm hunters in the hollow below draw your own breath slower and slower, down past thought, down past worry, down into the deep still dark where sleep is waiting, patient as the stars. Down in the green hollow a small night creature comes to the edge of the black pool to drink, a soft-furred thing no larger than your two hands, its great dark eyes catching the starlight as it bends to the water. It drinks quickly, looking up between sips, and then it slips away again into the dark among the reeds, and the pool is still, holding its stars. Even the wariest of the small ones is unafraid tonight, for the great cold quiet of the desert night lies kindly over everything, and the small sleeping hunters beneath the tamarisk are deep in their dreams and want nothing. The stars above the dunes are so many and so clear that they seem to crowd down close enough to touch, and among them runs the great pale river of light that spills across the whole dark sky, a vast soft band of distant stars beyond counting, arched from rim to rim over the silent silver dunes. No haze softens them here, no cloud, no mist, only the clean dry desert air, and through it the whole deep sky burns clear and close and cold and beautiful, wheeling its slow way over the sleeping land. A breath of wind comes down off the high dune and crosses the cooling sand and stirs, just faintly, the feathers of the sleeping family in their hollow, and one of them draws itself a little closer to the others without waking, and the small warm ching rises for a moment and then sinks again to silence. The cold cannot touch them through their feathers and through the warmth of one another. They are made for these nights, the small swift hunters, and these clean cold starlit nights are theirs, and they sleep in them as deeply and as sweetly as anything in all the wide world. There is a great clean emptiness to the desert at this hour that is not lonely but restful, a vast spareness of sound and motion in which the smallest things grow precious and clear, the tick of the cooling sand, the soft breath of the sleeping hunters, the slow silent wheel of the stars. Everything unnecessary has been taken away, and what is left is simple and clean and quiet, only the sand and the stars and the small warm sleepers and the deep cold peace, and there is room in that emptiness for every weight you carry to drift away and be lost. Lie back now against the cool slope of the dune, and let the great wide sky hold you, and let the clean cold quiet empty you of everything but breath. There is nothing out there in the silver dark to trouble you, only the sleeping dunes rolling away silent and pale to the edge of the world, only the crowding stars, only the small warm hunters dreaming in their hollow below. The desert keeps its sleepers safe in the cold clean dark, and it will keep you too, as deeply and as gently as it keeps them. High over the silver dunes a night-flying creature passes on silent leathery wings, a dark shape crossing the crowded stars, hunting the moths that drift up from the cooling sand, and then it banks away into the dark and is gone, and the great clean silence of the desert closes over the place where it passed, deeper and more perfect than before. Let the cold clean dark and the crowding stars hold you now the way the warm hollow holds the small sleeping hunters beneath the tamarisk. Let the vast spare quiet empty you of everything but breath. There is nothing out in the silver dark to trouble you, only sand and stars and stillness, and the deep cold peace of the desert is drawing you down, gentle and slow, toward the same sweet sleep the little hunters have already found. Across the whole vast desert sky the great pale river of the stars is flung from rim to rim, a soft glowing band of distant light beyond all counting, arching over the silver dunes, and as you watch, one bright point of it loosens and falls, a single silent streak of light drawn swift across the dark and gone, and then the deep sky is still again, crowded and clear and cold above the sleeping sand. The little family of feathered hunters sleeps on beneath the tamarisk, curled close and warm in the cold clean dark, their soft breathing the only sound in all the wide silver night, and the great wheel of the stars turns slow above them, and a falling star streaks silent now and then across the dark, and the deep cold peace of the desert lies over the small warm sleepers and the rolling dunes and the still black pool that holds its scattered stars, holding everything safe through the long, clear night. And the deep cold silence of the desert settles ever deeper as the moon-pale dunes roll away silent and silver to the edge of the world, and you feel yourself growing lighter and emptier and stiller beneath the enormous crowded sky, until there is almost nothing left of you but breath and starlight and the soft sound of the small hunters sleeping in their hollow below. There is room here, endless room, room enough for every thought and every worry to drift up and away into the vast cold dark and be lost among the stars, and the longer you rest beneath the great wheeling sky the more holy that emptiness becomes, a kind of peace, a clean wide quiet that asks nothing of you and gives you only rest, only stillness, only the deep cold gentle dark. For now, only this. Only the cooling sand, and the crowding stars, and the soft warm breathing in the hollow below. Only the great desert silence, holding you. Only the rest. The night is long and clear and kind, and the morning is far away, and between them there is nothing but this quiet, this peace, this slow descent toward sleep, here at the gentle end of the desert day, among the small hunters and the cooling sand. Now let the desert stars fade, and let the long dark carry you down through deeper time than you have yet traveled, past the age of the great river tyrants, past the warm-sailed hunters of the drowned south, into the older world of the Jurassic, where the dinosaurs are younger and the land is greener still. Here a vast flat country rolls away under a wide pale sky, a country of seasonal rivers and broad fern prairies and scattered groves of tall conifers and ginkgos and tree ferns whose fronds hang heavy in the warm evening air. This is the country we might one day call the Morrison, in the long golden afternoon of the dinosaurs, and the day here is ending the way all good days end, slowly, warmly, with a great hush coming down over the land as the light turns to honey and gold. You are standing at the edge of one of these fern prairies, where the ground lies flat and green to the far horizon, a soft endless sea of low ferns and horsetails rippling faintly in the evening air. The sun is low and large and golden, and it pours its last light flat across the prairie so that every frond is edged with fire and the whole green expanse seems to glow and shimmer, gold over green, all the way to the dark line of conifers at the world's edge. The air is warm and still and smells green and clean, of fern sap and damp earth and the resin of the distant pines, and it lies over the land like something you could rest your weight against. The prairie is full of the soft sounds of evening. Insects rise from the ferns in slow golden clouds, droning. Small creatures move through the undergrowth with dry papery rustles. Far across the prairie a herd of the great long-necked giants is moving slowly toward the conifer grove where they will spend the night, and you can hear them, the deep slow groaning calls they make to one another, vast and gentle as foghorns, rolling across the green distance and fading, and the heavy soft thud of their footfalls, felt more than heard, a slow deep pulse in the ground beneath your feet. It is the most peaceful sound in the world, that distant herd going home, those enormous gentle creatures moving through the golden light toward their rest. And near you, where the prairie meets a low rise crowned with a single great spreading ginkgo, the prairie's chief hunter is resting in the last of the sun. He is an Allosaurus, the strange lizard, the great hunter of this Jurassic world, and though he is a fearsome thing by daylight he is a peaceable thing now, in the golden evening, with his belly full and the long day done. He is large, though not so large as the tyrants who will come long after him, a lean and powerful hunter built for speed and patience, and he lies now on the warm crest of the low rise with his long body stretched along the ground and his great head raised, gazing out across the glowing prairie with the calm proprietary ease of an old king surveying his country at the end of the day. He is old, this Allosaurus, and like the old tyrant queen of the far distant future he wears his years openly. There are pale scars along his flanks, the records of old hunts and old rivals, and the bony ridges above his eyes have grown rough and worn, and there is a slowness in him now, a deliberation, that was not there in his quick fierce youth. But there is also a great calm in him, the calm of a creature who has lived long and learned the country and has nothing left to fear from it. He has hunted this prairie for more years than most of his kind ever see. He knows every grove and every river bend and every game trail across the green. And now, at the end of another day in his long reign, he lies in the warm light on his familiar rise and simply rests, and is content. What does an old king think, do you suppose, lying in the last gold of the day above the country he has ruled so long? Watch him a while in the failing light, and perhaps the evening will tell you something of it. The sun sinks lower, and the gold of the prairie deepens to amber, to bronze, to a dusky burning red as the light comes ever more level across the land. The single great ginkgo on the rise catches the last of it in its high fan-shaped leaves, and for a few moments the whole tree seems to burn, a tree of gold standing alone against the darkening sky, and the old Allosaurus lies beneath it in its shadow, his scaled hide gone the color of old bronze in the dying light, his great head turned to the west to watch the sun go down. There is no hurry in him at all. He has watched 1,000 suns go down over this prairie, and he watches this one with the same unhurried attention, the same deep ease, as if it were the only sunset there had ever been or would ever be. Across the prairie the great long-necked herd has reached the conifer grove, and they are settling for the night among the tall trees, their long necks weaving slowly as they take a last few mouthfuls from the high branches before they rest. The young ones are gathered in the middle of the herd, small only by comparison, and the great old ones stand guard around them without seeming to, simply by being there, by their vast calm presence. The Allosaurus watches them across the distance with no hunger in his gaze, for he has eaten, and the herd knows it, and pays him no mind. By daylight they would keep a wary eye on him, but now, in the evening, with the light going and his belly full, there is a kind of truce across the prairie, an old understanding between hunter and hunted that the day's business is done and the night is for rest. The light fails further, and the burning red drains out of the prairie and the sky, leaving the land gray and soft and the sky a deepening violet in which the first stars are beginning to show. The great ginkgo loses its gold and becomes a black fan of shadow against the dusk. The cool of evening comes stealing across the prairie, rising up out of the cooling ground, and the warm green smell of the day is joined now by the cooler smells of night, of dew beginning to form on the ferns, of the cold breath of the distant river. The old Allosaurus feels the cool come, and it eases him, the heat of the long day sighing slowly out of his great body into the gathering dark, and he lowers his head at last and lays it down upon the warm earth of his rise, among the fallen ginkgo leaves. It is a slow and stately thing, the lying down of an old king. He has already settled his long body along the ground, now he brings the great head down by degrees, the long neck folding gently, until his jaw rests upon the cool earth and his eyes are nearly level with the tops of the ferns. He shifts once, twice, finding the worn comfortable hollow that long use has made in the crest of his rise, and then he is still, his sides moving slow and deep with his breathing, his eyes half closed, his whole great frame loosening and settling into rest. The last of the light catches the ridges above his eyes and the long line of his jaw, and then that too fades, and he becomes a great dark shape upon the rise, breathing in the dusk. Night comes fully now, and with it a deep and lovely quiet. The insects have stilled. The herd in the conifer grove has gone silent, the great necks laid down at last, the whole vast company of them sleeping among the trees. The small creatures of the prairie have gone to their burrows and their roosts. The wind has dropped to nothing, and the ferns stand still and silvered under the rising stars, and the air lies warm and motionless over the whole green country. There is only the faintest of sounds now, the dry whisper of the cooling land, the far soft murmur of the river, the slow deep breath of the sleeping king upon his rise, and beneath and around all of it, the vast and gentle silence of the Jurassic night. The stars fill the sky from edge to edge, soft and many in the warm Jurassic air, and their faint light lies over the prairie like a film of silver, picking out the tops of the ferns, gleaming on the leaves of the great ginkgo, lying pale along the back of the sleeping Allosaurus. The prairie that glowed gold a little while ago is gray and dim and infinitely peaceful now, a wide soft sea of shadow under the stars, and over it the old king sleeps on his rise, and the great herd sleeps in its grove, and all the small life of the green country sleeps in its burrows and its nests, and nothing moves, and nothing fears, and the whole world lies still and safe beneath the slow-wheeling stars. You sit at the edge of the prairie in the warm dark and you watch the old hunter sleep, and you feel the deep peace of the place settle into you, and your breath goes slow and even with the slow even breathing of the king upon his rise. There is something deeply restful in the company of an old creature at peace, something that quiets the heart, and the Allosaurus is very much at peace tonight, lying in the place he has lain 1,000 nights, in the country he has known all his life, under the stars he has slept beneath since he was a quick small thing newly out of the egg. His long day is done. His country is quiet. The night is warm and kind. And he sleeps the deep untroubled sleep of a creature who has come home, and who knows it. How old is this peace, you wonder, lying here in the Jurassic dark? Older than the desert. Older than the river country. Older than almost anything you can name. The dinosaurs have ruled this green world for an age already, and every evening of that long age has ended like this one, with the herds going home through the golden light and the old hunters lying down upon their familiar rises and the stars coming out over the quiet prairies. You are watching one evening near the middle of the longest summer the world has ever known, a summer of 100 million years, and the calm of it is the calm of deep and settled time, of a world that has found its balance and means to keep it, of an order so old and so sure that nothing in the night can shake it. The old Allosaurus shifts in his sleep, the great tail sliding a little across the crest of the rise, and then he is still again, his head laid down among the ginkgo leaves, his breath the slow tide it has always been. An owl-like thing calls once from the conifer grove, soft and low, and is answered far off, and then silence comes back, deeper than before. The dew gathers on the ferns. The river murmurs. The stars will their slow way over the sleeping land. And the old king of the fern prairie sleeps on beneath his ginkgo tree, vast and calm and content, dreaming whatever an old hunter dreams at the end of a long rain and a long good day. Stay here a while in the warm Jurassic dark, at the edge of the silvered prairie, in the company of the sleeping king. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. The night will keep its long soft watch over the green country, as it has kept it for an age, and the morning is far away, and between now and then there is only this deep peace, only the slow breathing of the sleeping world, only the stars and the quiet and the rest. Let the warm air hold you. Let the soft silence fill you. Let the slow breath of the old hunter draw your own breath down and down toward sleep. The Jurassic night settles deep and warm over the fern prairie, and the more your eyes rest in the dark the more the soft world gives back to you. The single great ginkgo stands black against the crowded stars, its fan-shaped leaves stirring faintly when the night air moves. The prairie rolls away gray and silvered under the starlight, a wide soft sea of shadow, the ferns all bowed a little now with the gathering dew, gleaming faintly where the starlight catches the wet. And on his low rise beneath the ginkgo the old Allosaurus sleeps, a great dark shape against the dark, his sides rising and falling slow and deep, the worn ridges of his brow catching the faintest gleam of star. Across the prairie in the conifer grove the great long-necked giants sleep in their vast peaceable heap, and now and then one of them shifts and a long neck slides across another's flank, or a deep slow groaning sigh rolls out across the dark prairie and fades, and the young ones murmur in their sleep among the old. They are so large and so gentle and so wholly at rest that the sound of them sleeping carries across the whole prairie like the breathing of the land itself, a deep slow tidal sound under everything, rising and falling, the lullaby of the giants, older than any song. The dew gathers thicker on the ferns as the night deepens, and a low soft mist begins to rise from the cooling ground, drifting in pale sheets across the silvered prairie, pooling in the hollows, blurring the far dark line of the conifer grove. The smell of the night is green and cool and clean, fern sap and wet earth and the resin of the distant pines, and it lies sweet and heavy over the sleeping land. The old hunter breathes it slow and deep upon his rise, the heat of the long day all gone out of him now, the cool of the night lying kindly along his great flanks, and he sinks deeper into his ancient sleep, untroubled, unhurried, wholly at peace in the country he has ruled so long. An owl-like thing calls softly from the grove, a low double note, and is answered far across the prairie, and then the quiet comes back, deeper than before. A small soft creature rustles through the ferns near the foot of the rise and freezes when a shadow crosses the stars and then moves on. The mist drifts. The stars wheel. The giants breathe their slow deep breath in the grove. And the old king sleeps on beneath his ginkgo, and nothing in all the wide warm Jurassic night disturbs him, for he has nothing left to fear, and the country knows him, and the night is kind. You sit at the prairie's edge in the warm misty dark and you let the deep peace of the place settle all through you, and your breath goes slow and even with the slow even breathing of the king upon his rise and the giants in their grove. There is such ease here, such long-settled calm, the calm of a world that has found its balance and means to keep it, that simply to rest at the edge of it is to feel your own heart slow and your own mind grow still and your own weight sink gently down into the soft mossy ground. The prairie holds you. The warm night holds you. The slow breathing of the sleeping giants draws your own breath down toward sleep. How old this peace is, how long it has lasted, how long it will last yet. The giants in the grove are the children of giants who slept in this same grove ages before this night, and the old king on the rise is the child of kings who lay down upon this same rise to rest at the end of countless days. The prairie has greened and dried and greened again through summer upon summer beyond counting, and every evening of all those summers has ended like this one, with the giants going home through the golden light and the old hunters lying down upon their familiar rises and the mist rising and the stars coming out over the quiet green land. You are resting tonight inside the very heart of that long patience, that deep slow Jurassic calm, and there is no older or surer peace anywhere in the world. The mist rises higher, soft and pale, until it lies waist-deep across the whole prairie, a still grey sea out of which the dark ginkgo rises like an island, out of which the far conifers rise like a distant shore, and the stars hang clear and bright above it all, and the great hunter sleeps half drowned in the soft mist upon his rise, only the dark line of his back and his lowered head showing above the pale drift. It is a strange and lovely sight, the sleeping king upon his misty island under the crowded stars, and it asks nothing of you but that you look at it softly and let it carry you down toward your own rest. Let the warm Jurassic dark hold you now, the way the misty prairie holds the sleeping king. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. The night will keep its long soft watch over the green country, as it has kept it for an age beyond imagining, and the morning is far away, and between now and then there is only this deep settled peace, only the rising mist and the wheeling stars and the slow breath of the sleeping giants, only the rest. Let the soft mist cover you. Let the green silence fill you. Let the slow breathing of the old king draw your own breath down, and down, and down, into the deep warm dark of the oldest summer in the world. Far off across the misty prairie, one of the great long-necked giants in the conifer grove lifts its small head on its enormous neck and gives a long low groaning call into the dark, a sound vast and soft as a foghorn heard across still water, and from somewhere else in the grove another answers it, and then they are both quiet, and the deep slow breathing of the herd resumes, rolling across the prairie like the breathing of the land itself. The young giants murmur in their sleep among the great old ones, safe in the warm heart of the herd, and the old king on his rise sleeps on, undisturbed, for he knows the giants and the giants know him and the night is for resting. The mist rises higher off the cooling ground, until it lies waist-deep and then shoulder-deep across the whole silvered prairie, a soft still sea of pale vapor out of which the great ginkgo rises like a dark island and the far conifers rise like a distant shore. The stars hang clear and bright above the mist, and the old hunter sleeps half drowned in the soft pale drift upon his rise, only the dark line of his back and his lowered head showing above the silver, and it is a strange and lovely and deeply peaceful sight, the sleeping king upon his misty island beneath the crowded Jurassic stars. An owl-like creature calls softly from the dark conifer grove, a low double note, and glides on silent wings out over the misty prairie, hunting the small things that stir in the ferns, and its pale shape crosses the stars for a moment and is gone, and the soft double note comes again, fainter, from far across the gray expanse. The small creatures of the prairie freeze in the ferns when the shadow passes and then move on about their soft business, and the great slow night goes on, patient and gentle, over the sleeping green country. The dew gathers thick and cool on every bowed frond, and the green resinous smell of the prairie deepens in the still night air, and the warm Jurassic dark lies heavy and sweet over the whole wide land, over the sleeping giants in their grove and the old king on his misty rise and all the small soft life of the green country, holding them, hushing them, carrying them gently through the long warm night toward the slow gold morning. Let the warm misty dark hold you now, the way the soft pale sea of mist holds the sleeping king upon his rise. Let the deep slow breathing of the giants in the grove be the rhythm of your own slow breath. There is such ease in this old green country, such long settled calm, that simply to rest at the edge of it is to feel your own heart slow and your own mind grow still and your own weight sink softly down into the cool mossy ground, down toward the same deep peace in which the whole oldest summer of the world lies sleeping. A single firefly-like creature drifts up out of the dewy ferns near the foot of the old king's rise, glowing soft and green, rising and falling on the still night air, and then its small light winks out and it is gone into the dark, and there is only the mist and the starlight and the great slow breathing of the sleeping giants rolling across the silvered prairie. Let the warm misty dark of the oldest summer hold you now the way the soft pale sea of mist holds the sleeping king upon his rise. Let the deep slow groaning breath of the giants in their grove become the rhythm of your own slow breath, in and out, vast and gentle and unhurried, drawing you down, fern by dewy fern, star by quiet star, into the deep green peace of the Jurassic night. The dew drips soft from the tips of the high ginkgo leaves onto the ferns below, a slow gentle pattering hardly louder than a breath, the only small sound in all the misty prairie night besides the deep slow breathing of the giants in their grove, and the great old king sleeps on upon his misty rise beneath the dripping ginkgo, silvered with starlight and dew, deep in the long warm peace of the oldest summer. The mist lies soft and pale across the whole silvered prairie now, and the stars hang clear and many above it, and somewhere far off across the gray expanse an owl-like creature calls once and falls silent, and the dew drips slow from the leaves, and the giants breathe their vast slow breath in the dark grove, and the whole deep green Jurassic night lies hushed and gentle over the sleeping land, holding the old king and the giants and all the small soft life of the prairie safe toward the slow gold morning. And when at length the dark carries you onward, it will take you north and into a stranger evening still, to a high cool forest under the long northern twilight, where a small and gentle hunter built for exactly this dim hour moves softly through the dusk. But there is no need to leave the prairie yet. The stars are so soft, and the air is so warm, and the old king sleeps so deeply on his rise. Rest here as long as you like, in the long golden quiet of the Jurassic night. The prairie will keep you, the way it keeps the sleeping herds and the sleeping king, and the northern forest will still be waiting, beyond the ages and the dark, whenever you are ready to drift on toward it. For now, only rest. Only the warm dark, and the silvered ferns, and the slow breath of the old king, and the deep, deep peace of the oldest summer in the world. Drift onward now, north and forward in time, out of the golden Jurassic and into a cooler, higher country in the later age of the dinosaurs, a land of dense northern forests and long slow twilights. This is a place that lies far toward the top of the world, and at this season the dark comes slowly and the dusk lasts long, a soft blue half-light that lingers for hours between the going of the sun and the coming of true night. The forest here is tall and shadowed, ranks of conifers and ginkgos and broad ferns crowding close, the ground beneath them soft with moss and fallen needles, the air cool and green and damp and full of the resinous breath of the trees. It is a hushed and dreaming country, and the long twilight that lies over it is the gentlest light in all the world. You are standing at the edge of a small clearing deep within this northern forest, where a clear cold stream runs over dark stones and the moss grows thick and soft underfoot. The sun has gone down behind the high dark trees, but its light has not gone with it, instead it lingers, spread thin across the whole sky, a soft and shadowless glow that turns the air itself a deep dim blue and lays a faint silver sheen on the moss and the ferns and the moving water. There are no harsh shadows here, no edges, only this even gentle dimness, this blue and quiet light in which everything seems to float a little, softened, unhurried, half asleep already. The cool air smells of moss and cold water and pine, and it lies still and damp against your skin, and the only sound is the soft talk of the stream over its stones. It is into this long blue dusk that the hunter comes, and she comes so softly that you might not notice her at all, for she belongs to this hour as nothing else does. She is a Troodon, a small and slender and graceful thing, no taller than your waist, light on her feet as a bird, her body clothed in soft dark feathers that the dim light renders almost black. She has large eyes, very large, round and dark and deep, eyes made for exactly this, for the gathering of the smallest light, for seeing clearly in the long blue dusk that to other creatures is already half darkness. She is a creature of the twilight, built and born for it, and when she steps out into the dim clearing she does not blink or pause but moves through the failing light with perfect ease, as much at home in it as you are at home in noon. She moves with a delicate stepping grace, lifting each slender foot and setting it down upon the moss without a sound, the long feathered tail held out behind her for balance, the narrow head turning slowly this way and that, the great dark eyes drinking in the blue dusk. She is hunting, in her quiet patient way, but it is a hunting so gentle and so unhurried that it hardly seems like hunting at all. She is simply moving through her forest in the hour she loves best, watching and listening, alert to the small soft movements of the small soft creatures that share the dusk with her. There is nothing fierce in her bearing. She is small and light and lovely, and she moves through the dim with like a thought, like a shadow with bright eyes, like the spirit of the twilight given delicate feathered form. What is it like, do you think, to be made for the dusk, to find your clearest sight and your deepest ease in the very hour when the rest of the world goes blind and still and sleepy? Watch her move through the blue light a while, and perhaps you will begin to understand. She pauses at the edge of the stream and lowers her head to drink, the great eyes half closing, the slender throat working as she takes the cold clear water in small neat sips. The stream talks softly over its stones beside her. A moth blunders past her head, pale in the dimness, and her eyes flick to follow it without her head moving at all, and then let it go. She is not so hungry tonight, having fed already in the brighter dusk an hour ago, and now she drinks and rests and simply moves through her forest for the pleasure of it, if creatures know such pleasure, which watching her you cannot help but believe they do. She lifts her head from the water, a bright drop falling from her jaw, and stands quite still, listening to the dusk, and the long blue light lies softly all around her. The light deepens by slow degrees, the blue growing richer and dimmer, the silver sheen fading from the moss, the far trees melting into one another and into the dark. But it does not hurry, this northern dusk, it takes its long sweet time, sinking toward night so gradually that you cannot mark the moment when one becomes the other. The first stars appear in the gaps between the high black trees, faint at first in the lingering glow, then clearer as the glow fades, and still the soft blue light hangs on, low along the ground, caught in the moss and the mist that is beginning to rise from the cold stream and pool among the ferns. The forest holds its breath in the long gloaming, hushed and dreaming, and the little dusk hunter moves through it like the one waking thing in a sleeping world, gentle and unafraid. Around her the day creatures of the forest have long since settled. The small mammals that scurried through the undergrowth in the daylight have gone to their nests of moss and leaves. The birds, the true birds and the feathered creatures like them, have tucked their heads beneath their wings in the dark branches. The great plant-eaters that browsed the forest edges all day have moved off to their resting grounds and lain down in their heavy peaceable heaps. Only the creatures of the dusk and the dark are abroad now, the moths and the soft night things and the patient dusk hunters like the Troodon, and they go about their quiet business in the blue half-light without disturbing the sleep of the rest, a gentle secret life moving through the stillness while the forest dreams. The Troodon turns from the stream and steps softly into the deeper forest, threading between the dark trunks, her great eyes shining faintly as they catch what little light remains. She is going to her own resting place now, for even a creature of the dusk must sleep, and the deep dark of true night is for her, too, a time of rest. She moves to the base of a great old conifer where the lower branches sweep down close to the ground and make a kind of low green room, screened and sheltered and soft with fallen needles, and there, in that hidden mossy place, she settles herself for the night. She turns about once, twice, the way a small warm creature does, and then folds her long legs beneath her and sinks down into the soft needles and tucks her narrow head back along her side, beneath the soft feathers of her shoulder, and grows still. The mist is rising thicker now from the cold stream, drifting in slow pale ribbons among the dark trunks, pooling low among the ferns, and it brings with it a deeper cool and a deeper hush. The long blue dusk has faded at last into true night, and the gaps between the trees are full of stars, sharp and clear in the cold northern air, and their faint light filters down through the high black branches and lies in scattered silver coins upon the moss. The forest is wholly quiet now, more quiet than any place you have yet rested, a deep green northern silence broken only by the soft endless talking of the stream over its stones and, now and then, the single soft note of some night bird far off in the dark, and then silence again, cool and complete. The little Troodon sleeps her light warm sleep in her hidden green room beneath the old conifer, curled small among the fallen needles, her feathers keeping her warm against the rising cold, her great eyes closed now and resting from their long watching. She has loved her dusk and moved through it gently and drunk from her cold clear stream, and now the dark has come and she has folded herself away into her sheltered place, and she sleeps, safe and warm and small in the great quiet of the northern night. The mist drifts over her hiding place. The stars shine cold and clear above the trees. The stream talks on and on over its stones, the oldest and softest of voices, and the forest dreams around her, and all is still, and all is well. You sit at the edge of the misty clearing in the cool and the quiet, and you breathe the cold clean air of the northern night, and you feel the deep green silence settle into you, and your breath goes slow and soft to match the stillness. There is a particular peace to a forest at night, a close and sheltered peace quite unlike the wide peace of the desert or the warm peace of the river country, a sense of being held among the great patient trees, screened and hidden and safe, with the soft mist drifting and the stream murmuring and the stars far off and small above the high dark canopy. It is the peace of a deep and secret place, a place the noise of the world cannot reach, a place made for rest, and it folds gently around you in the dark. How long has this forest kept its long blue dusks and its deep quiet nights? Longer than memory. The trees you sit beneath are old, but the forest is older, far older, an unbroken green country that has stood through age upon age, growing and falling and growing again, keeping always the same cool hush, the same soft twilight, the same gentle creatures moving through the dim. The little dusk hunter who sleeps beneath the conifer tonight is the child of a long line of dusk hunters who have loved this same blue hour and slept this same deep sleep in this same green dark, back and back beyond all counting. To rest here is to rest inside that long green patience, to be held by a forest that has cradled its sleepers since long before this night and will cradle them long after. Somewhere out in the misty dark a small thing moves, a soft rustle in the ferns, and then is still. The night bird calls again, far off, and is not answered. The mist thickens and thins and drifts. The stream talks softly over its stones, never stopping, never hurrying, a sound as old as water itself, as soothing as a hand stroking your hair. And the little Troodon sleeps on in her hidden green room, curled warm and small among the needles, dreaming whatever bright soft dreams a creature of the dusk might dream, while the deep northern night keeps its long cool watch over the dreaming forest and everything that sleeps within it. Rest here a while in the cool misty dark, at the edge of the silent clearing, in the company of the sleeping dusk hunter and the talking stream. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. The forest will keep its deep green watch, as it has kept it for ages, and the morning is far away, and between now and then there is only this close sheltered peace, only the drifting mist and the murmuring water and the cold clear stars above the trees, only the rest. Let the cool air hold you. Let the green silence fill you. Let the soft talk of the stream draw your breath down and down and down toward sleep. And when at last the dark moves you onward from this misty northern country, it will carry you far to the south, to a wide windswept plain at the bottom of the world, where a lone horned hunter walks through the long shadows of a Patagonian evening. But there is no need to leave the forest yet. The mist is so soft, and the stream is so gentle, and the little dusk hunter sleeps so warm beneath her tree. Rest here as long as you like, in the deep blue quiet of the northern night. The forest will keep you, the way it keeps its small sleeping hunter, and the southern plain will still be waiting, beyond the ages and the dark, whenever you are ready to drift on toward it. For now, only rest. Only the cool mist, and the murmuring stream, and the soft warm breathing in the green dark, and the deep, deep peace of the one who loved the dusk. The northern night settles cold and clear and deep over the forest, and the mist rises thick from the cold stream and drifts in slow pale ribbons among the dark trunks, pooling low among the ferns, hushing the world still further. The long blue dusk is wholly gone now into true dark, but it is not a heavy dark. The gaps between the high black trees are full of sharp clear stars, and their faint light filters down through the canopy and lies in scattered silver coins upon the moss, and the mist takes the starlight and glows faintly with it, a soft pale luminance drifting through the deep green dark, so that the forest floor seems lit from within by the gentlest of lights. The little Troodon sleeps in her hidden green room beneath the old conifer, curled small among the fallen needles, her feathers fluffed full against the cold, her great dark eyes closed and resting from their long patient watching. The lower branches sweep down around her like a curtain, screening her, sheltering her, and the soft mist drifts past the green walls of her hiding place, and the cold cannot reach her there. She is warm and hidden and small and safe, and she sleeps the deep good sleep of a creature that has found exactly the right place to lie down, the sheltered secret place that the body knows it can trust. The cold stream talks on and on over its dark stones, the softest and most patient of all the voices in the forest, and there is no sound in all the world so good to sleep by as the sound of running water in the dark. It has no words and means nothing and asks nothing, it only goes on, gentle and endless, over this stone and that stone, the same soft sound it has made for 10,000 years and will make for 10,000 more, and to listen to it is to feel time itself grow soft and slow and unimportant, to feel the whole hurrying business of the day dissolve into the long patient murmur of the water going down through the dark toward the sea. The mist thickens among the trees until the far trunks vanish into it and the near ones stand half dissolved, grey ghosts of trees in the glowing dark, and the whole forest seems to draw in close and small and secret around the little clearing, a sheltered green room within the larger dark, walled with mist and roofed with stars. A night bird calls once, far off, a single soft note, and is not answered, and the silence that comes after it is deeper and softer than before. Something small moves in the ferns and is still. The stream murmurs on. And the forest dreams, and the little hunter dreams within it, and all is hushed, and all is held, and all is well. You sit at the edge of the misty clearing in the cold clean dark and you breathe the resin-sweet air of the northern night, and the close sheltered peace of the forest settles all through you, and your breath grows slow and soft to match the deep green stillness. There is a particular comfort in being among great trees in the dark, in being screened and hidden and surrounded by their patient standing presence, the comfort of a child tucked deep in a safe bed in a quiet house while the great world stands watch outside. The trees stand watch all around you. The mist draws close and soft. The stream murmurs you down toward sleep. The long northern night spends itself slowly, hour upon quiet hour, and nothing changes but the slow drift of the mist and the slow wheel of the stars in the gaps between the trees and the soft endless talking of the stream. Time moves so gently here, in this deep green dark, that it scarcely seems to move at all, and there is nothing in it that asks anything of you, nothing to hurry toward, nothing to leave behind, only the long soft patience of the forest at rest, only the murmur of the water, only the deep cool peace of the northern night folding closer and closer around you. The little Troodon stirs once in her hidden green room, lifts her narrow head a moment, blinks her great dark eyes at the glowing mist, and then tucks herself back down among the warm needles and is still. She has loved her long blue dusk, and now she rests in the deep dark that comes after it, sheltered and warm and small beneath her tree, and she will wake again to the slow grey dawn and the slow blue gloaming of another day, and move through it gently as she moved through this one, the patient lovely hunter of the twilight country. But that is far off. For now there is only the dark, and the mist, and the murmuring stream, and the deep good sleep. Let the cold misty dark of the northern forest hold you now, the way the sheltered green room holds the little sleeping hunter. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. The forest will keep its deep green watch, as it has kept it through ages without end, and the morning is far away, and between now and then there is only this close sheltered peace, only the drifting glowing mist and the cold clear stars and the soft endless murmur of the stream, only the rest. Let the cool air hold you. Let the green silence fill you. Let the gentle talking of the water draw your breath down, and down, and down, into the deep, sheltered, dreaming dark of the forest at the bottom of the long, long dusk. The mist glows faintly now with the starlight caught within it, a soft pale luminance drifting low among the dark trunks, and where it thins you can see the scattered silver coins of starlight lying on the deep green moss, and where it thickens the near trees stand half-dissolved, grey dreaming ghosts of trees in the glowing dark. The whole forest has drawn in close and secret and small around the little misty clearing, a sheltered green room within the larger dark, walled with mist and roofed with the few clear stars that show between the high black branches. The cold stream talks on and on over its dark stones, the softest and most faithful of all the voices of the night, and there is no sound in all the world so good to sleep by as the sound of running water in the dark. It has no words and asks nothing and means only itself, it only goes on, gentle and endless, over this stone and that, the same soft sound it has made for 10,000 years and will make for 10,000 more, dissolving time itself into its long patient murmur, washing the whole hurrying day away down through the dark toward the distant sea. A night creature calls once, far off in the misty dark, a single soft falling note, and is not answered, and the silence that closes over it afterward is deeper and softer than before. Something small stirs in the wet ferns near the stream and is still. The mist drifts. The little dusk hunter sleeps on in her hidden green room beneath the old conifer, curled warm and small among the fallen needles, her great dark eyes closed and resting, her feathers fluffed full against the cool, deep in the good sleep of a creature that has found exactly the right safe place to lie down. There is a close and sheltering comfort in being among great trees in the dark, in being screened and hidden and surrounded by their patient standing presence, the comfort of a child tucked deep in a warm bed in a quiet house while the wide world keeps its distance beyond the walls. The trees stand watch all around you, dark and tall and still. The mist draws its soft grey curtains close. The stream murmurs low and endless at the edge of hearing. And the deep green peace of the forest folds gently in around you, sheltered and safe and still. Let the cool misty dark of the northern wood hold you now, the way the hidden green room holds the little sleeping hunter. Let the soft endless murmur of the stream draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past thought, down past the last of the day, down into the deep sheltered dark where sleep is waiting among the patient trees. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be, only here, only now, only the mist and the moss and the murmuring water and the deep green rest. Deep in the misty wood a small soft creature creeps out along a mossy log to lap at a bead of dew, its eyes catching the faint glow of the mist, and then it slips away again among the dripping ferns, and the only sound left is the cold clear stream talking on and on over its dark stones, patient and endless, the gentlest voice in all the sleeping forest. Let the cool glowing mist and the patient murmur of the stream hold you now the way the hidden green room holds the little dusk hunter curled warm beneath her tree. Let the soft endless voice of the water draw your breath down, slow and deep, past thought, past the last of the day, down into the sheltered green dark where sleep is waiting quiet among the patient standing trees. A soft rain has begun to fall now, so light and so gentle that it is less a rain than a drifting mist made heavier, and it whispers down through the high needled branches and patters soft upon the broad ferns and the deep moss, a low even hushing sound that fills the whole dark forest, the gentlest sound there is, the sound of soft rain falling on a sleeping wood in the dark. The little dusk hunter sleeps dry and warm in her hidden green room beneath the sweeping branches of the old conifer, sheltered from the soft rain by the thick boughs above her, and she listens in her sleep, if she listens at all, to the low even whisper of the rain on the canopy and the soft talk of the swelling stream, and she sleeps the deeper for it, curled small and warm among the needles, while the gentle rain hushes down through the dark forest all the long night through. And the soft rain whispers on through the high dark canopy, and the swelling stream talks low over its stones, and the cool glowing mist drifts among the patient trees, and you feel the close green peace of the forest fold ever more gently around you, sheltered and hidden and safe beneath the dripping boughs. There is no sound in all the misty wood now but the low even hush of the rain and the soft murmur of the water and the slow breathing of the little hunter asleep in her hidden green room, and the three soft sounds weave together in the dark into a single gentle lullaby, old as the forest, soft as the moss, drawing your breath down and down, past thought, past the last of the day, into the deep sheltered green rest of the northern night. Let your mind grow as soft and dim as the long blue twilight, and as still as the misty wood. The stream is talking you down toward sleep. The trees are standing watch all around you. The stars are keeping their cold bright vigil far above. And here below, in the warm green dark, the little hunter sleeps, and you may sleep too, as deeply and as safely as she, here in the sheltered heart of the northern forest, at the gentle end of the long, long dusk. Let the misty forest fade behind you now, and let the long dark carry you far to the south, to the wide windswept plains at the bottom of the ancient world. This is a country we might one day call Patagonia, in the late age of the dinosaurs, a vast open land of dry grasslands and scattered scrub and low red bluffs, rolling away mile upon mile beneath an enormous sky. The wind is the great fact of this country, a long steady wind out of the west that never wholly stops, that combs the grasses all one way and shapes the scattered trees and carries the dry clean smell of the open land for miles. But the wind softens at evening, as it always does, gentling toward a long low murmur as the sun goes down, and it is into that gentling evening wind that you come. You are standing on the crest of a low red bluff, looking west across the wide plain, and the sun is setting at the far edge of it, enormous and orange, sinking through the dust the wind has lifted all day into a sky banded with gold and rose and a deep dusty violet. The light comes flat and golden across the grasslands, and every blade of grass leans east before the dying wind, all of them bowed the same way, a whole vast plain of grass bowing toward the coming night, gold over the tops and blue in the deep, rippling in long slow waves as the wind moves over it, out and out to the dim horizon. The air is dry and clean and cool now that the day's heat is lifting, and it smells of dust and grass and the far cold breath of mountains you cannot see. The plain is quiet, with the wide spare quiet of open country, where sounds are few and far between and the wind fills all the spaces in between. The long grass hisses softly as the wind combs through it. Far off, a flock of small flying reptiles wheels low over the grassland, their thin cries thinning further on the wind, and then they are gone. Somewhere a covey of small ground creatures rustles into the scrub for the night. And under it all, always, the long low murmur of the wind, rising and falling as it gusts and eases, a sound as wide as the plain itself, a sound to which the whole country has bowed and bent and shaped itself over ages, the patient endless voice of the open land. It is across this wide bowing plain, in the long golden light, that the wanderer comes. You see him far off at first, a dark shape moving alone through the grass, and as he comes nearer you see what he is. He is a Carnotaurus, the meat-eating bull, and he is one of the strangest and most striking of all the hunters of the ancient world, lean and light and long-legged, built for speed across open ground, with a short deep face and, above his eyes, two stout curving horns that give him his name and his bull-like look. His hide is a deep weathered red along the back, paling to dusty gold below, scattered all over with rows of larger raised scales that catch the low light, so that in the golden evening he seems flecked with points of fire as he walks. He walks alone, as his kind so often do, a solitary wanderer of the wide plain, and there is a long loose easy stride to him, the ground-covering walk of a creature built to roam great distances across open country. He is not hunting now. He has hunted in the cool of the morning and fed and lain up through the heat of the day in the shade of the red bluffs, and now in the gentling evening he is simply moving, crossing the plain toward the place he will rest for the night, walking into the golden west with the dying wind in his face and the long grass parting before his legs. There is a great freedom in the look of him, a great solitary ease, the ease of a creature who answers to no one and goes where he will across a country wide enough to hold all his wandering. What must it be, do you think, to wander so freely and so alone across so wide a land, with the long wind always at your side and the great sky always overhead and the whole open plain to roam? Watch him cross the grasslands a while in the failing light, and perhaps the wide evening will tell you. He pauses on a slight rise and lifts his short deep face to the wind, the two curved horns dark against the burning sky, and he reads the evening through it, the smells the long wind carries from far across the plain, the distant herds, the far water, the cold breath of the western mountains. The wind stirs the loose folds of his throat and ripples down the rows of raised scales along his flanks, and he stands a long moment, reading, knowing, at home in the wide country he has wandered all his life. Then he lowers his head and walks on, unhurried, into the gold, and the grass closes behind him, and the wind combs it smooth again, as though he had never passed. The sun touches the far rim of the plain now, and the whole western sky catches fire, gold and orange and deep dusty rose, and the lifted dust of the day turns the light thick and warm and burning, so that the sun seems to spread and flatten as it sinks, a great smear of fire along the edge of the world. The long grass blazes with it, every bowed blade tipped with gold, and the wandering hunter walks straight into the heart of it, a dark shape against the fire, growing smaller, until he tops a far low rise and stands for a moment wholly black against the burning sky, the two horns sharp against the gold, and then drops down the far side and is gone from your sight, swallowed by the wide bright land. But you have only to drift a little after him to find him again, for the place he is going is not far. Beyond the rise the ground falls away to a shallow dry valley where a stand of low gnarled trees grows along the bed of a stream that runs only in the wet season, and here, in the lee of the trees, out of the long wind at last, the wanderer comes to rest. He stands among the low trees a while, reading the evening one last time, and then he lowers himself slowly to the ground in the sheltered hollow, folding his long legs beneath him, settling his lean body into the soft dry grass, laying his short horned head down at last upon his folded forelimbs, out of the wind, in the gathering dark. The sun is gone now, and the fire is fading from the sky, the gold sinking to rose, the rose to a deep dusty violet, and the first stars are coming out high overhead, sharp and clear in the dry southern air. The wind eases further as the light goes, sinking to a long low murmur among the low trees, and the long grass on the plain above stops its rippling and stands still and grey under the rising stars. The dust settles out of the air, and the sky clears and deepens, and the stars come out thicker and brighter, until the whole vast southern sky is hung with them, wheeling slowly over the wide still plain and the sheltered hollow where the lone wanderer lies down to his rest. He sleeps now, the solitary hunter, curled in the lee of the low trees out of the long wind, his short horned head laid down, his lean sides rising and falling slow and deep. The shelter of the trees holds the day's last warmth around him, and the wind passes over the hollow without reaching him, combing the grass on the rise above with a long soft hiss, and he sleeps on beneath it, untroubled, alone and at ease, as he has slept 1,000 nights alone across the wide plain. There is no loneliness in his solitude that you can feel, only a deep self-sufficient peace, the peace of a creature wholly at home in its own company and in the wide country that is its only companion. You sit on the rise above the sheltered hollow, in the long grass that the wind has stopped combing, and you look up into the wheeling southern stars, and the wide spare piece of the plain settles into you, and your breath goes slow and even with the slow even murmur of the easing wind. There is a particular peace to open country at night, a wide and spacious peace quite unlike the close shelter of the forest, a sense of enormous room all around you, of a sky so vast and so full of stars that it seems to lift the very weight off your shoulders and carry it away west on the long low wind. The plain is so wide, and the sky is so deep, and there is room in them for everything to grow quiet and still. How long has the wind blown across this plain, combing the grass all one way, shaping the trees, carrying the dust into the burning sunsets? Longer than the bluffs, which the wind itself has carved. Longer than the grass, which grows and dies and grows again with every turning season. The lone hunter who sleeps in the hollow tonight is the child of countless lone hunters who have wandered this same wide plain and bowed before this same long wind and lain down to rest in these same sheltered hollows at the end of their long wandering days, back and back beyond all counting. To rest here is to rest inside that long wind-shaped patience, in a country that has bent and endured and wandered on through age upon age, wide and spare and free. The wind murmurs low among the low trees, and the long grass stands grey and still under the wheeling stars, and somewhere far off across the dark plain a night creature calls once into the wide quiet and is not answered. The wanderer sleeps in his sheltered hollow, curled out of the wind, dreaming whatever wide free dreams a solitary roamer of the open land might dream. The stars will slowly over the vast still plain. The dust has all settled. The air is clean and cool and clear. And the wide southern night keeps its long spacious watch over the sleeping wanderer and the bowing grass and the whole wide rolling country, out and out to the dim far edge of the world. Rest here a while in the wide cool dark, on the rise above the sheltered hollow, in the long grey grass beneath the wheeling stars. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be, and all the room in the world to be still in. The plain will keep its wide spare watch, as it has kept it for ages without number, and the morning is far away, and between now and then there is only this spacious peace, only the murmuring wind and the standing grass and the slow deep stars, only the rest. Let the wide dark hold you. Let the long wind carry your cares away west into the night. Let the slow murmur of it draw your breath down, and down, and down, towards sleep. The wind eases further as the deep of the night comes on, sinking from its long low murmur to a bare soft breath among the low trees of the hollow, and then, now and then, to nothing at all, so that the wide plain falls for whole long moments into a vast and total stillness, the grass standing motionless and grey under the stars, not a blade stirring, the whole great country holding its breath. And then the soft breath of the wind returns, sighing once through the low trees, combing the grass on the rise above with a long faint hiss, and falls still again, and the wide quiet returns, deeper than before. The southern stars are strange and clear and many in the dry cold air, wheeling slow above the wide dark plain, and among them burn patterns no living eye will ever see again in just this arrangement, the old constellations of a young world turning over the grasslands as they have turned every night since the plain was made. The lone wanderer sleeps beneath them in his sheltered hollow, curled out of the wind, and the slow wheel of the stars passes over him through the long night, and he does not wake, and the wide cold peace of the open country lies over him and over the whole rolling land. Far out across the dark plain a night creature calls once, a thin high cry carried a moment on the dying wind and then gone, and the wide quiet swallows it, and nothing answers. The long grass stands grey and still. The low red bluffs loom dark against the stars. The dry streambed winds pale through the hollow where the wanderer sleeps. And the whole wide spare country lies open and quiet and empty beneath the wheeling sky, holding its single sleeper safe in the lee of the low trees, out of the long wind, through the long cold night. There is a wide and spacious peace to the open plain at night that no closed and sheltered place can give, a sense of enormous room on every side, of a sky so vast and so deep and so full of slow wheeling stars that it seems to lift the very weight from your shoulders and carry it away west on the long low wind, out over the dark grasslands, out past the dim red bluffs, out and out to the far edge of the world. Until there is nothing left of it anywhere and nothing left of you but breath and starlight and the wide cold quiet. The lone wanderer shifts once in his sleep, the short horned head turning a little against his folded forelimbs, and then he is still again, his lean sides rising and falling slow and deep, his rows of raised scales catching the faintest gleam of star along his flank. He has wandered far across the wide plain in his long life, and slept alone in 100 sheltered hollows beneath 100 wheeling skies, and there is no loneliness in his solitude, only a deep self-sufficient ease, the ease of a creature wholly at home in its own company and in the wide free country that is its only and its lifelong companion. How long has the long wind blown across this plain, combing the grass all one way, carving the red bluffs, lifting the dust into the burning evening skies and letting it settle soft at dark. Longer than the bluffs. Longer than the grass, which grows and dies and grows again with every turning season. The lone hunter who sleeps in the hollow tonight is the child of countless lone hunters who have wandered this same wide plain and bowed before this same long wind and lain down in these same sheltered hollows at the end of their long days, back and back beyond all counting, each of them carried, as he is carried now, on the slow patient breathing of the wide and ancient land. Let the wide cool dark of the open plain hold you now, the way the sheltered hollow holds the lone wanderer out of the wind. Let the long low murmur of the gentling breeze carry your cares away west into the night, blade by blade across the bowing grass, out to the far dim edge of the world. There is all the room in the world here to be still in, all the wide dark night to rest in, and nothing at all that asks anything of you, only the standing grass and the wheeling stars and the deep spacious peace of the wide plain at rest. A small ground creature of the plain creeps out from the scrub at the edge of the hollow, drawn by the shelter of the low trees, and curls itself down in the dry grass not far from where the great wanderer sleeps, a small warm shape settling into the same windless lee, and the two of them rest there together in the dark, unknown to one another, sharing without knowing it the same sheltered ground out of the long cold wind. The dry grass of the plain gives off its clean sweet smell into the cooling night air, the smell of a whole wide country of grass cured by the long day's sun, and it lies soft over the dark grasslands, mingling with the cold mineral breath of the far western mountains that the wind has carried all day across the plain, a clean wide scent, the very smell of open country at rest. The wide plain holds so few sounds at this hour, and sets them so far apart, that each one falls into the silence like a stone into still water and sends its slow rings out into the quiet and is gone, the single sigh of the breeze through the low trees, the far thin cry of a night bird out over the grass, the soft shift of the sleeping wanderer in his hollow, and then the long wide silence closing over all of it again, patient and complete. There is room on the wide plain for every weight you carry to drift away and be lost. The sky is so vast, and the dark grasslands roll away so far on every side, and the long low wind moves so endlessly across them, that anything you set down here in the dark will be taken up by the wind and carried away west, blade by blade across the bowing grass, out past the dim red bluffs, out to the far edge of the world, until it is gone, and there is nothing left of it, and nothing left of you but breath and starlight and the wide cold quiet. Lie back now in the long grey grass on the rise above the sheltered hollow, and let the wide dark plain hold you, and let the wheeling southern stars stand watch over you the way they stand watch over the sleeping wanderer below. There is all the room in the world here to be still in, all the wide dark night to rest in, and the long low murmur of the gentling wind is drawing your breath down, slow and deep and even, down toward the wide spacious sleep that waits for you here beneath the open sky. Far off along the dark horizon a thin haze of cloud has come up out of the west, and it drifts slow and pale across the lowest stars, and the long wind that combs the high grass carries the faint cool promise of distant rain somewhere far out over the plain, though no rain will fall here tonight, only the dry clean dark and the wheeling stars and the deep wide quiet, and the lone wanderer sleeping on in his windless hollow, untroubled, at ease. And as the deep of the night comes on, the wide plain seems to grow even quieter and even wider, the dark grasslands melting into the dark sky at the dim far edge of sight, the stars wheeling slow and bright above, the whole vast country lying open and still and empty and at peace, holding its single sleeper safe in the lee of the low trees, and holding you too, drowsing on the rise above him, out under the wide cold sky. In the wide cold quiet, in the deep spacious peace of the open plain at rest. Low in the east, over the dim far rim of the plain, a great pale moon has begun to rise, swollen and gold and calm, lifting slow above the dark grasslands, and its soft light spreads westward across the wide plain, silvering the standing grass, gilding the low red bluffs, laying long soft shadows from the scattered trees, until the whole vast country lies bathed in pale gold light, silent and still and luminous beneath the climbing moon. The lone wanderer sleeps on in his sheltered hollow in the moonlight, his lean flanks silvered where the soft light falls upon it through the low trees, his short-horned head laid down upon his folded limbs, his rows of raised scales gleaming faintly along his side, and the long wind has died to nothing now, and the standing grass is still, and the whole wide plain lies silent and pale and at peace beneath the great gold moon. The wanderer's foot twitches once in his sleep, a small soft running movement, as though even in his dreams he is crossing the wide plain, roaming the open grasslands he has roamed all his life, and then he stills again and sinks deeper into his rest, and the moonlight lies soft upon him, and the wide country holds him gently in the lee of the low trees, out of the long dead wind, deep in his peaceful sleep. The moonlight has changed the whole wide plain, softening it, gentling it, turning the dry grasslands to a pale silver sea that rolls away still and luminous to the dim far edge of the world, and the few scattered trees stand black and motionless upon it, and the low bluffs loom soft and pale, and the great gold moon climbs slow up the deep star-crowded sky, and the whole spacious country lies hushed and bright and at peace. There is a wide and gentle wonder to the moonlit plain at this deep hour of the night, a sense of vast soft luminous space on every side, of a silvered country rolling away endless and still beneath a great calm climbing moon, and to lie in the pale grass and look out across it is to feel your own heart grow as wide and as still and as quiet as the moonlit land, emptied of everything but the soft gold light and the deep wide peace. Let the wide silver dark and the great gold moon hold you now the way the sheltered hollow holds the lone wanderer asleep in the moonlight. Let the deep wide silence of the windless plain draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down toward the wide and gentle sleep that waits for you here beneath the climbing moon, out under the vast and luminous sky, in the deep spacious peace of the open plain at rest. The deep of the night settles over the wide moonlit plain, and the stillness grows so complete that you can hear the faint tick of the cooling grass and the soft slow breath of the sleeping wanderer in his hollow and nothing else at all, only the vast and gentle silence of the open country lying still beneath the climbing moon, holding its single sleeper safe. And the great gold moon climbs higher up the star-crowded sky, and the silvered grasslands roll away still and luminous to the dim far edge of the world, and the lone wanderer sleeps deep and easy in the lee of the low trees, and the wide spacious peace of the plain lies soft upon him and upon you, drawing your slow breath deeper and deeper down toward sleep. And when at last the dark carries you onward from this wide windswept country, it will take you north again and back through the ages to a green and watered land of slow streams and standing pools, where a quiet company of small swift hunters has gathered along the water's edge to rest as the mist comes down. But there is no need to leave the plain yet. The wind is so soft now, and the stars are so deep, and the lone wanderer sleeps so peacefully in his sheltered hollow out of the wind. Rest here as long as you like, in the wide spare quiet of the southern night. The plain will keep you, the way it keeps its solitary sleeper, and the watered land will still be waiting, beyond the ages and the dark, whenever you are ready to drift on toward it. For now, only rest. Only the wide grass, and the wheeling stars, and the long low murmur of the gentling wind, and the deep, free, spacious peace of the wanderer of the wide plain. Drift north now, and back through the ages, to a green and gentle land of slow streams and standing pools, in the early part of the last great age of the dinosaurs. This is a watered country, lush and low and warm, a land of broad slow rivers braiding through floodplain forests, of reed-fringed pools lying still among the trees, of soft green meadows starred with the first flowering plants the world has ever grown. The day here has been warm and bright and full of the hum of insects, but the day is ending now, and as the sun goes down a soft cool mist begins to rise from the still water and drift among the trees, and the whole green country settles toward its rest in the gathering blue dusk. You are standing at the edge of one of these still pools, where the water lies smooth and dark among the reeds and the great trees lean down over it, their lower branches trailing in the water. The sun has set behind the floodplain forest, and the sky above the trees is a deep clear green gold fading to blue, and the first stars are pricking out in the east, and their faint light, with the last of the sunset, lies softly on the still surface of the pool, doubled and dreaming. The mist is rising in slow pale coils from the water and drifting among the dark trunks, and the air is cool and damp and green, full of the smell of water and leaf mold and the faint sweet scent of the new flowers, and the only sounds are the soft talk of the stream that feeds the pool and the first low chorus of the evening frogs. It is here, along the soft margin of the pool, that the quiet company has gathered. They are Deinonychus, the terrible clawed, swift-feathered hunters somewhat larger than the small thieves of the desert, and like them they are nothing like the cold monsters of old story. They are warm and feathered and lithe, their bodies clothed in soft barred plumage that the dim light renders in shades of gray and dusky brown, and there is a grace and a lightness to them that is almost bird-like as they move along the water's edge in the falling dusk. There are 5 of them, a family, and they have hunted together through the day, and now in the cool of the evening they have come down to the pool to drink and to rest, and they gather there along the soft margin in a loose easy company, unhurried, at ease. They drink first, one by one and two by two, lowering their narrow feathered heads to the still water and taking it in small neat sips, the ripples of their drinking spreading out across the pool and setting the doubled stars to trembling. And then, their thirst eased, they settle. They do not lie down all at once but drift into rest by degrees, the way a company of creatures does that trusts one another and the place they are in. One folds itself down among the reeds at the water's edge, and another steps in beside it and preens a while before settling, and a third stands a long moment looking out over the darkening pool before it too sinks down into the soft growth. And so by ones and twos the whole company comes to rest along the margin, a loose warm scattering of feathered hunters in the blue dusk, drowsing by the still dark water. What must it be, to belong to such a quiet company, to hunt the long day through with your own kind and then, in the cool blue evening, to gather with them along the still water and drink and preen and settle down to rest together as the mist comes drifting through the trees. Watch them a while in the gathering dark, and perhaps the gentle dusk will show you. One of them, settled in the reeds at the very edge of the water, lowers its narrow head and begins to preen the soft feathers of its breast, drawing them one by one through its delicate jaws, smoothing them, settling them, and the small sound of it carries softly across the still pool, a faint dry rustling, infinitely peaceful. Another, close beside it, has tucked its head already back beneath the feathers of its shoulder and gone still, only its sides moving slow and deep with its breathing. A third has laid its long feathered tail across the back of a fourth, the way such creatures do, a casual companionable touch, and the two of them drowse together, warm against one another in the cool dusk, while the mist drifts past and the frogs sing low and the stars come out one by one over the darkening pool. The light fails by slow degrees, the green gold draining from the western sky, the blue deepening overhead, the stars thickening in the east. The mist rises higher from the still water, drifting in slow pale sheets among the dark trunks, pooling low among the reeds, until the far side of the pool dissolves into it and the near trees stand half-veiled, grey ghosts of trees in the deepening dusk. The frog's chorus swells and softens and swells again, a deep pulsing drone that fills the whole green country, the oldest lullaby there is, and beneath it the stream talks softly on over its stones, and the quiet company drowses by the water, sinking slowly towards sleep in the cool and the mist and the gentle dark. Around them the watered country settles for the night in its soft green way. The great plant-eaters that browse the floodplain forest all day have moved off to their resting grounds and lain down in their heavy peaceable heaps among the trees. The small flying creatures have folded their wings in the high branches. The fish in the pool have sunk to its cool dark bottom to wait out the night. The first flowers have closed their petals against the dark. And the mist drifts over all of it, soft and cool and pale, drawing a gentle veil across the whole green country, hushing it, holding it, tucking it in toward morning under the thickening stars. The 5 hunters sleep now along the margin of the pool, a loose warm company in the cool mist, their feathers keeping the night's chill from them, their bodies drawn close to one another and to the soft warm earth. They sleep their light, half-waking sleep, surfacing now and then to lift a head and taste the misty air and then sinking again, but for the most part they rest, deeply and easily, trusting the night and the place and one another, as creatures do that have lain down together in the same safe place 1,000 evenings. The mist drifts over them. The stars shine faint and far above the veiling trees. The frogs sing on, and the stream murmurs on, and the quiet company sleeps by the quiet water in the deep green dark. You sit at the edge of the misty pool in the cool damp dark and you breathe the green water-scented air of the evening, and the soft sheltered peace of the watered country settles all through you, and your breath grows slow and even to match the deep green stillness. There is a tender comfort in the company by the water, in the sight of those swift fierce hunters gathered so gently along the margin, drowsing close against one another in the cool dusk, trusting and trusted, at rest among their own. It is the comfort of belonging, of being one among others in a safe place at the end of a long day, and it reaches across the still dark water and settles softly into your own tired heart. How long has this green country kept its soft misty evenings, its still pools and its gathering companies of sleepers? Longer than the flowers, which are new to the world, this first faint scattering of blossoms among the ancient ferns. Longer than memory. The watered land has lain low and lush and warm through age upon age, its rivers braiding and rebraiding across the floodplain, its pools lying still among the trees, its evening mists rising soft and cool, its quiet companies of hunters gathering along the margins to rest as the dusk comes down. The 5 who sleep by the pool tonight are the children of countless such companies, and they carry the long green memory of the watered country in their warm blood, the old knowing that says when the light fails and the mist rises, it is time to gather by the water and rest. A fish rises somewhere out in the misty pool and falls back with a small soft sound, and the rings spread and fade and the doubled stars settle again on the still dark water. One of the sleeping hunters stirs and shifts and presses a little closer to the others and is still. The mist drifts. The frogs sing low. The stream murmurs on over its stones. And the quiet company sleeps along the margin of the pool, warm and close and at ease in the cool green dark, dreaming whatever soft swift dreams such creatures dream, while the misty night keeps its gentle watch over the sleeping company and the still water and the whole soft watered land. Rest here a while in the cool misty dark, at the edge of the still pool, in the company of the sleeping hunters and the singing frogs and the murmuring stream. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. The watered country will keep its soft green watch, as it has kept it for ages, and the morning is far away, and between now and then there is only this gentle sheltered peace, only the drifting mist and the still dark water and the faint far stars above the veiling trees, only the rest. Let the cool damp air hold you. Let the green silence and the soft frog song fill you. Let the gentle talk of the stream and the slow breathing of the company by the water draw your breath down, and down, and down, toward sleep. The mist rises thicker from the still pool as the night deepens, drifting in slow pale sheets among the dark trunks, pooling low among the reeds, until the far shore of the pool dissolves wholly into it and the near trees stand half-veiled, grey dreaming shapes in the deepening dusk. The frogs sing on from the reed beds, a deep soft pulsing chorus that fills the whole watered country, rising and falling, near and far, the oldest and gentlest lullaby there is, and beneath it the small stream that feeds the pool talks softly on over its stones, and the quiet company drowses by the dark water, sinking slowly, sweetly, towards sleep. One of the sleeping hunters stirs at the water's edge, lifts its narrow feathered head a moment, blinks at the drifting mist with one dark drowsy eye, and then tucks its head back beneath the soft feathers of its shoulder and presses a little closer to the warm bodies of its kin and is still. The loose warm company shifts and settles along the soft margin, a drawing together in the cool dark, a quiet arranging of feathered bodies, and then they are still again, breathing slow and deep, a single warm knot of trusting sleepers by the still pool in the misty dark. A fish rises somewhere out in the veiled water and takes some late insect from the surface with a small soft sound, and the rings of it spread slow and wide across the dark glass of the pool and lap at last against the reeds at your feet, and the doubled stars in the water shiver and bend and slowly settle again. The mist drifts over the still surface. The frogs sing low. The trees lean dark and dreaming over the water. And the whole soft-watered country lies hushed and veiled and peaceful beneath the thickening stars. The first flowers of the world have closed their petals against the cool dark now, the small new blossoms scattered among the ancient ferns, folded and sleeping like everything else in the watered land, and their faint sweet scent still hangs in the cool damp air, mingling with the smell of water and leaf mold and green growing things, the smell of a world brimming with more soft life than it knows what to do with, all of it lying down together now to rest. There is a tender comfort in the company by the water, in the sight of those swift fierce hunters gathered so gently along the misty margin, drowsing close against one another in the cool blue dark, trusting and trusted, at rest among their own kind in a safe place at the end of a long shared day. It is the comfort of belonging, of being one warm body among other warm bodies in the gentle dark, and it reaches softly across the still dark water and settles into your own tired heart, and quiets it, and eases it toward rest. How long has the watered country kept its soft misty evenings, its still pools lying dark among the leaning trees, its gathering companies of sleepers along the margins? Longer than the flowers, which are new and few and wonderful in this young green world. Longer than memory. The quiet company that sleeps by the pool tonight is the child of countless such companies who have gathered by this same still water at the soft end of countless days, and they carry the long green knowledge of the watered land in their warm blood, the old sure knowing that says when the light fails and the mist comes down, it is time to gather by the water, and drink, and preen, and settle close, and rest. The mist drifts and thins and thickens again. The frogs sing on, softer now as the night deepens, until only a few faithful voices keep up the chorus, far off across the veiled pool, gentle and slow. The stream murmurs over its stones. The stars hang faint and far above the dreaming trees. And the quiet company sleeps along the margin of the still pool, warm and close and at ease in the cool green dark, while the misty night keeps its long gentle watch over the sleepers and the still water and the whole soft watered land. Let the cool misty dark of the watered country hold you now, the way the soft margin holds the quiet sleeping company by the pool. Let the low soft song of the frogs and the gentle talk of the stream draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past the last of the day, down toward the deep green rest that waits for you by the still dark water. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be, only here, only now, only the mist and the water and the soft frog song and the warm close breathing of the company by the pool. A young one among the sleeping company stirs and gives a small soft cheeping sound in its sleep, hardly louder than the frogs, and one of the older hunters beside it shifts and lays its long feathered tail gently across the small one's back, and the young one quiets and settles and sleeps, and the loose warm company draws a little closer along the misty margin and is still again, breathing slow and deep by the dark still water. The cool mist drifts low across the surface of the pool, curling among the reeds, veiling the leaning trees, and where it parts the doubled stars show clear and trembling on the dark glass of the water, and where it gathers the whole far shore dissolves into soft pale nothing, so that the sleeping company seems to drowse at the edge of a still dark pool with no far side at all, a pool that opens out into mist and starlight and gentle dark. The frogs of the watered country sing on through the deep of the night, softer now, their great pulsing chorus thinning to a few faithful far-off voices, a sound so steady and so gentle that it long ago stopped being sound at all and became instead a kind of warmth, a presence, the very breathing of the marsh, rising and falling, near and far, saying over and over in its wordless way that all is well, that the night is kind, that it is time to rest. There is such tenderness in the company by the water, in the sight of those swift hunters gathered so close and gentle in the cool dark, the old ones curled about the young, the long tails laid across one another, the warm feathered bodies pressed together against the night, that simply to watch them is to feel something ease and soften in your own chest, some old loneliness quieted, some old watchfulness laid down at last, here by the still dark water among the sleeping company. Let the cool misty dark of the watered land hold you now the way the soft margin holds the quiet company by the pool. Let the low soft song of the frogs and the gentle talk of the feeding stream draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past the last of the long day, down toward the deep green rest that waits for you here by the still dark water, among the trusting sleepers, beneath the veiling mist and the faint far stars. A slow ripple crosses the dark pool from some deep unseen movement of the water, and it laps softly at the reeds along the margin, and the sleeping hunters do not stir, and the doubled stars shiver and bend and slowly settle again on the still black surface, and the great soft quiet of the watered night closes over everything once more, deeper and gentler than before, holding the pool and the company and the whole misty green country safe in the dark. And the night wears slowly on, soft and cool and green, and nothing changes but the drift of the mist and the slow wheel of the faint stars above the dreaming trees and the gentle thinning of the frog song as the deep of the night comes down, and the quiet company sleeps on along the margin of the still pool, warm and close and at ease, carried gently together through the long misty dark toward the slow gray dawn that waits, far off, beyond the leaning trees. A low ground mist has risen now across the whole watered country, lying soft and pale and knee-deep over the dark pool and the reedy margin and the floor of the floodplain forest, so that the sleeping company seems to drowse upon a soft pale cloud, half sunk in the gentle drifting vapor, and the leaning trees rise dark out of it, and the stars hang faint and far above it, and everything lies veiled and soft and dreaming in the cool misty dark. The youngest of the sleeping hunters breathes quick and soft and shallow against the warm flank of an older one, its small feathered sides rising and falling fast, lost in whatever small bright dreams the young of such creatures dream, and the older one breathes slow and deep and even beside it, and the two rhythms move together in the dark, fast and slow, small and large, the breathing of the young and the breathing of the old, side by side along the misty margin of the still pool. The frogs have nearly sung themselves to silence now, only one or two faithful far-off voices keeping up the old soft chorus across the veiled water, and into the deepening quiet comes the gentle drip of mist gathering and falling from the leaning leaves, and the soft talk of the feeding stream over its stones, and the slow breathing of the sleeping company, and beneath it all the vast green hush of the watered country at the deep of the night. A great slow ripple crosses the misted pool from some deep unseen stirring of the water, and it laps soft against the reeds, and the low mist swirls and parts above it and slowly closes again, and the doubled stars shiver on the dark glass and settle, and the quiet company does not stir, warm and close and trusting along the soft margin, sunk in the pale ground mist, deep in the gentle green dark. There is so deep a tenderness in this misty pool and its sleeping company, the old curled close about the young, the warm feathered bodies pressed together in the cool dark, the soft mingled breathing rising into the veiled night, that to sit beside it is to feel some old watchfulness in your own heart lay itself down at last, some old loneliness quieted, here among the trusting sleepers by the still dark water. The ground mist drifts and pools and deepens, soft and pale and cool, and the leaning trees stand dark and dreaming above it, and the faint stars will slow and far across the veiled sky, and the last frog falls silent at last, and there is only the gentle drip of the mist and the soft talk of the stream and the slow breathing of the company, only the deep green hush of the watered country, holding its sleepers gently through the long misty dark. Let the cool pale ground mist and the soft talk of the stream hold you now the way the misty margin holds the quiet company asleep by the pool. Let the gentle drip of the gathering mist and the slow soft breathing of the sleepers draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down toward the deep green rest that waits for you here by the still veiled water, among the trusting company, beneath the dreaming trees. And the misty night wears slowly on, cool and green and gentle, and nothing moves but the drifting ground mist and the slow far wheel of the veiled stars, and the quiet company sleeps on along the margin of the still pool, the old curled close about the young, all of them breathing soft and slow together in the cool dark, carried gently through the long misty night toward the slow gray dawn that waits, far off, beyond the dreaming floodplain trees. The deep of the night lies soft and green over the watered country now, the ground mist pale and still across the dark pool, the leaning trees dreaming above it, the last frog long since fallen silent, and there is only the gentle drip of the mist and the soft talk of the stream and the slow mingled breathing of the sleeping company, only the deep green hush of the floodplain at rest. And the faint stars will slow above the veiling trees, and the cool mist drifts and pools along the margin, and the quiet company sleeps on by the still dark water, the old curled close about the young, all of them breathing soft and slow together in the gentle dark, and the deep tender peace of the watered land lies over them and over you, drawing your slow breath down toward the deep green rest. And the cool ground mist lies soft and pale and still across the whole watered country, and the leaning trees dream dark above it, and the quiet company sleeps close and warm along the misty margin of the still pool, and you feel the deep green tenderness of the place settle all through you, quieting some old watchfulness in your own heart, easing some old loneliness, drawing you in among the trusting sleepers by the dark water. There is nothing here that asks anything of you, only the gentle drip of the gathering mist, only the soft talk of the stream, only the slow mingled breathing of the old curled close about the young, and it is enough, it is everything, to rest here among them in the cool green dark, held and safe and still. And when at last the dark carries you onward from this soft watered country, it will take you back through deeper ages still, to a warm bright lakeshore in the early dawn of the dinosaurs, where a crested hunter walks the margin of a great still lake as the long day dims toward its rest. But there is no need to leave the pool yet. The mist is so soft, and the frogs sing so low, and the quiet company sleeps so close and warm along the water's edge. Rest here as long as you like, in the deep green quiet of the watered night. The pool will keep you, the way it keeps its sleeping company, and the warm bright lakeshore will still be waiting, beyond the ages and the dark, whenever you are ready to drift on toward it. For now, only rest. Only the cool mist, and the still water, and the soft frog song, and the warm close breathing of the quiet company by the water, and the deep, tender, green peace of the watered land at the gentle end of the day. Drift back now through deeper time than you have yet traveled tonight, down past the watered country and the great fern prairies, into the early dawn of the age of dinosaurs, when the world was younger and the great hunters were fewer and the land still wore a strange and ancient face. Here a wide green valley cradles a great still lake, ringed about with low hills and stands of tall conifers and tree ferns and the strange spiked shapes of early cycads, and the lake lies in the heart of it like a held breath, broad and calm and silver, mirroring the wide warm sky. The day here has been hot and bright, but the day is ending now, and the long warm evening comes down soft and golden over the valley and the lake, and everything begins, slowly, to settle toward rest. You are standing on the gently sloping shore of the great lake, where the warm shallow water laps softly against a margin of pale sand and smooth stones. The sun is low over the western hills, swollen and golden, and it lays a long bright road of light straight across the still water toward you, a shining path of gold laid down upon the silver, and all along it the lake catches fire, gold and rose and a deep warm copper, while the eastern shore lies already in soft blue shadow. The air is warm and still and faintly sweet, full of the green resinous smell of the conifers and the cool clean breath of the water, and the only sounds are the soft lapping of the lake against the shore and the slow evening calls of unseen creatures away among the ferns. It is along this warm bright shore, in the long golden light, that the crested hunter comes walking. He is a Dilophosaurus, the two-crested lizard, one of the earliest of the great hunters, a slender and elegant creature, lightly built and long-tailed, walking upright with an easy springing grace along the margin of the lake. Upon his head he wears his two thin curving crests of bone, rising side by side like a pair of delicate fans, and in the low golden light they glow faintly translucent, catching the sun along their edges, so that he seems crowned with light as he walks. His hide is a soft dusky color, paler below, and it takes the golden evening light warmly along his flanks, and there is nothing fierce in him now, only a long easy grace, as he walks the warm shore at the gentle end of the day. He is not hunting. He has fished the shallows in the cool of the morning and fed and rested through the heat of the day in the shade of the conifers, and now in the long golden evening he walks the margin of the lake simply to walk it, to feel the warm shallow water about his feet and the last of the sun upon his back, to move along the familiar shore he has walked 1,000 evenings. He steps lightly through the warm shallows, the water rippling out from his feet in long slow rings that catch the gold, and now and then he pauses and lowers his crested head to drink, the bright water running from his jaw, and then walks on, unhurried, crowned with light, along the burning margin of the still bright lake. What must it be, do you think, to walk so lightly and so freely along the warm shore at the end of the day, crowned with delicate light, with the still lake mirroring the whole golden sky and the long warm evening settling soft about you? Watch him walk the bright margin a while, and perhaps the golden dusk will tell you. He comes to a place where a low spit of pale sand runs out into the lake, and he walks out along it a little way and stands at its end, surrounded on 3 sides by the still bright water, and there he pauses and lifts his crested head and looks out across the lake toward the setting sun. The golden road of light runs straight to him across the water. The 2 thin crests glow translucent in the low sun. And he stands quite still at the end of the sand spit, a slender crowned shape against the burning lake, simply watching the sun go down, the way you might, the way every creature does that has walked a long day and come at last to a quiet place to watch the light go. The sun touches the western hills now and begins to sink behind them, and the golden road on the water deepens to copper, to rose, to a dusky burning red, and then slowly fades as the sun goes down, the fire draining out of the lake from the west, the silver returning, then the gray, then the soft blue of dusk. The western sky holds the last of the color, a long band of rose and gold low over the dark hills, and above it the first stars are coming out, and below it the still lake holds the fading fire and the first faint stars together, a dimming sky laid out upon the water. The crested hunter stands at the end of his sandspit through all of it, watching the light go, and then, as the last of the color fades, he turns and walks back along the spit toward the shore, toward his rest. The warmth of the long day still lies upon the land as the light fades, held in the pale sand, held in the smooth stones of the shore, held in the warm shallow water of the lake, and the crested hunter walks up out of the shallows onto the warm dry sand near a stand of low conifers, and there, in the lee of the trees, on the warm sand still holding the day's heat, he settles himself down for the night. He folds his long legs beneath him and lowers his slender body to the warm sand and lays his crested head down at last upon his folded forelimbs, the 2 thin crests dark now against the dimming sky, and his long tail curls about him, and his sides rise and fall slow and deep, and the warm sand cradles him, and he sinks toward sleep. The dusk deepens toward dark, and the stars come out thick and warm in the wide soft sky, and their faint light lies silver on the still lake and pale upon the sleeping shore. The lake has gone calm and dark and smooth as glass, holding the stars, broken only now and then by the small ring of a fish rising in the warm shallows or the soft touch of a flying creature dipping to drink. The conifers stand black and still around the sleeping hunter. The warm air lies motionless over the valley. And the soft sounds of the early world evening rise gently all around, the lap of the lake against the shore, the low calls of the night creatures among the ferns, the faint sweet hum of the warm dark, the oldest and gentlest of evenings, here in the young morning of the age of dinosaurs. The crested hunter sleeps now, curled on the warm sand in the lee of the conifers, his 2 thin crests laid dark against the starlit lake, his slender sides rising and falling slow and deep. The warmth of the long day still rises gently from the sand around him, and the still lake laps softly at the shore, and the stars shine warm and many in the wide soft sky, and he sleeps the deep good sleep of a creature wholly at home in its own green valley, by its own still lake, on the warm familiar shore it has walked all its life. There is no fear in his sleep, and no hurry, only the deep settled ease of the end of a warm bright day, only rest, only peace. You sit on the warm sand of the shore in the gentle dark and you breathe the sweet resinous air of the early world evening, and the deep warm peace of the lake valley settles all through you, and your breath grows slow and even with the soft slow lapping of the lake against the shore. There is a particular peace to a still lake at night, a calm and mirrored peace, a sense of great smoothness and great stillness, of a water so calm it holds the whole sky, of a valley so quiet and so warm that simply to sit in it is to feel your own heart grow still and smooth and calm as the dark water. The lake is so still, and the night is so warm, and there is such deep mirrored peace in it. How old is this valley, you wonder, and this still lake, and these warm golden evenings? Older than almost anything you can name, for this is the young morning of the great age, the early dawn of the dinosaurs, and yet even now the evening it makes is the same evening, the same warm gold sinking to dusk, the same first stars, the same still water holding the same fading sky. The crested hunter who sleeps on the warm sand tonight is among the first of the great hunters of the world, but the peace he sleeps in is older even than he is, older than the dinosaurs, as old as the first warm evening that ever fell over the first still water, a peace the world has kept and given freely to its sleepers since the very beginning. A fish rises in the warm shallows, and the rings spread out across the dark glass of the lake and fade, and the stars settle again on the still water. The crested hunter stirs once on the warm sand and is still. The conifers stand black against the stars. The lake laps softly, endlessly, at the pale shore. And the warm early world night keeps its long gentle watch over the sleeping hunter and the still bright lake and the whole quiet cradle of the green valley, while the stars will slowly over the smooth dark water and the morning waits, far off, beyond the eastern hills. Rest here a while in the warm gentle dark, on the soft sand of the shore, by the still mirrored lake beneath the wheeling stars. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. The lake will keep its calm bright watch, as it has kept it since the morning of the world, and the dawn is far away, and between now and then there is only this deep mirrored peace, only the soft lapping water and the warm still air and the many faint stars on the dark glass of the lake, only the rest. Let the warm sand cradle you. Let the still water calm you. Let the soft endless lapping of the lake draw your breath down, and down, and down, towards sleep. The great lake lies calm and dark and smooth as polished glass now under the thickening stars, holding the whole wide sky upon its still black surface, every star above answered by a star below, so that the sleeping shore seems to float between two skies, one wheeling slowly overhead and one lying still and perfect on the water. Now and then a fish rises in the warm shallows and the rings spread slow and wide across the dark glass and the doubled stars shiver and bend and settle again, and then the lake is still and perfect once more, a great dark mirror cradled in the quiet valley. The warmth of the long bright day still rises gently from the pale sand of the shore where the crested hunter sleeps, and from the smooth warm stones, and from the shallow water of the lake, so that the night here is soft and warm and kind, and the cool comes only slowly, by gentle degrees, as the stars will up the sky. The crested hunter sleeps on in the lee of his low conifers, curled on the warm sand, his two thin crests laid dark against the starlit water, his slender sides rising and falling slow and deep, wholly at ease in his own warm valley by his own still lake. The low calls of the night creatures rise soft and slow among the ferns and the strange spiked cycads around the shore, a gentle overlapping murmur of the early world dark, and a flying creature dips low across the still lake to drink, touching the water with the faintest of sounds and rising again into the starlit air, and its ripple spreads and fades, and the lake is glass again. The conifers stand black and still around the sleeping shore. The warm air lies motionless over the whole quiet valley. And the soft warm peace of the young world lies deep upon the water and the sand and the sleeping crested hunter. There is a calm and mirrored peace to a still lake at night that no moving water can give, a sense of great smoothness and great stillness, of a surface so perfectly calm that it holds the entire sky without a tremor, and to sit beside it in the warm dark is to feel your own restless mind grow smooth and still and clear as the dark water, every ripple of worry slowly spreading and fading until the surface of you, too, lies calm and perfect and at peace, holding nothing but the quiet reflected stars. How old is this valley, and this still lake, and these long warm golden evenings sinking softly into dark? Older than almost anything you can name, for this is the young morning of the great age, the early dawn of the dinosaurs, and yet even now, even here at the very beginning, the evening it makes is the same gentle evening the world will keep making for 100 million years, the same warm gold sinking to dusk, the same first stars, the same still water holding the same fading sky. The crested hunter who sleeps on the warm sand tonight is among the first of the great hunters of the world, and yet the deep peace he sleeps in is older even than he is, as old as the first warm evening that ever fell over the first still water. The crested hunter stirs once on the warm sand, the slender head shifting a little against his folded forelimbs, the two thin crests catching the faintest gleam of star, and then he is still again, his breath slow and deep and even, his long tail curled warm about him. The lake laps softly, endlessly, at the pale shore, the gentlest and most patient of sounds. The stars will slow above the still dark water. And the warm early world night keeps its long gentle watch over the sleeping hunter and the mirrored lake and the whole quiet cradle of the green valley. Let the warm gentle dark of the lake valley hold you now, the way the soft warm sand cradles the sleeping crested hunter in the lee of his conifers. Let the soft endless lapping of the still lake against the shore draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past the last of the long bright day, down toward the deep calm mirrored rest that waits for you here by the quiet water. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be, only here, only now, only the still lake and the warm sand and the soft lapping water and the many quiet stars lying mirrored on the dark. Out across the still dark mirror of the lake a flying creature dips once more to drink, touching the glassy surface with the lightest of touches, and the rings of it spread slow and wide and silver across the whole still water, out and out until they lap at last against the pale sand of the shore near the sleeping hunter's feet, and then the lake draws smooth again, and holds the whole sky once more, perfect and unbroken and still. The strange spiked cycads and the tall tree ferns stand black and motionless around the warm shore, dark shapes against the crowded stars, and among them the low calls of the early world night creatures rise soft and slow and overlapping, a gentle murmur of the young world's dark, neither near nor far, a sound to drift on, a sound to sleep by, rising and falling over the still warm valley like a slow warm tide. The warm sand of the shore still holds the long day's heat, and it rises gentle and even around the sleeping crested hunter and around you where you sit beside the still water, so that the dark is soft and warm and kind, and the cool comes only slowly, star by star, as the great wheel of the sky turns up the night, and there is no chill anywhere, only warmth, only stillness, only the deep mirrored peace of the lake at rest. There is a calm so deep in this still water that to sit beside it is to feel your own restless mind grow smooth and clear, every ripple of thought spreading slowly out and fading until the surface of you, too, lies perfectly calm, holding nothing but the quiet reflected stars, as still and as clear and as peaceful as the great dark mirror of the lake cradled in the warm and quiet valley. Let the warm gentle dark of the lake valley hold you now the way the soft warm sand cradles the sleeping crested hunter in the lee of his low conifers. Let the soft endless lapping of the still lake against the pale shore draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past the last of the long bright day, down toward the deep calm mirrored rest that waits for you here beside the quiet water, beneath the many quiet stars. The crested hunter breathes slow and deep upon the warm sand, his two thin crests dark against the starlit lake, his long tail curled warm about him, and now and then the faint warm breath of the valley stirs the low conifers above him with a soft dry whisper and then falls still, and the lake laps gentle at the shore, and the stars will slow above the still dark water, and the young world sleeps, warm and quiet and deep, in the cradle of its green valley. And the long warm night goes on, gentle and slow and kind, and nothing changes but the slow wheel of the stars across the still black mirror of the lake and the soft endless lapping of the water at the pale shore, and the warm early world dark lies deep and sweet over the sleeping hunter and the mirrored lake and the whole quiet valley, holding all of it safe through the long warm night toward the slow gold morning waiting far beyond the eastern hills. The great pale moon has risen now over the eastern hills and laid a long shining road of soft gold light straight across the still black mirror of the lake, a shimmering path that runs from the far dark shore all the way to the pale sand where the crested hunter sleeps, and the whole lake glows faint and silver beneath the climbing moon, holding the moon's bright road and the scattered stars together upon its perfect stillness. The crested hunter sleeps on upon the warm sand in the soft moonlight, his slender flanks silvered where the light falls upon it, his two thin crests laid dark and translucent against the shining water, his long tail curled warm about him, and the warmth of the long day still rises gentle from the sand around him, and the still lake laps soft and slow at the pale shore, and he sinks ever deeper into his calm and mirrored rest. The moonlight has turned the whole quiet valley soft and luminous and pale, gilding the tall tree ferns and the strange spiked cycads along the shore, gleaming on the smooth wet stones, lying silver on the still water, and the low calls of the early world night creatures rise soft and slow among the moonlit ferns, and the warm air lies motionless over the shining lake, and the young world sleeps, bathed in the calm pale glow of the climbing moon. There is a deep and gentle wonder to the moonlit lake at this still hour, the great gold moon laying its shining road across the perfect dark mirror of the water, the silvered shore, the gleaming ferns, the whole quiet valley luminous and hushed beneath the climbing moon, and to sit beside the shining water is to feel your own restless heart grow calm and smooth and bright as the moonlit lake, holding nothing now but the soft gold light and the deep mirrored peace. Let the warm moonlit dark and the shining lake hold you now the way the soft warm sand cradles the crested hunter asleep in the moonlight. Let the soft endless lapping of the still bright water against the pale shore draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down toward the deep calm mirrored rest that waits for you here beside the shining lake, beneath the great gold climbing moon and the scattered silver stars. The crested hunter draws one long slow breath upon the moonlit sand, and lets it go, and is still, and the lake laps soft at the shore, and the moon climbs slow up the deep warm sky, laying its shining road across the still dark water, and the low warm calls rise and fall among the moonlit ferns, and the whole quiet valley lies hushed and silver and at peace, cradling its sleeping hunter through the long warm night toward the slow gold morning far beyond the eastern hills. The deep of the night lies warm and still over the quiet valley now, the great lake lying calm and silver beneath the climbing moon, the moon's bright road shining unbroken across the perfect dark water, the warm sand still holding the day's last heat, and there is only the soft slow lapping of the lake at the pale shore, only the low far calls among the moonlit ferns, only the deep mirrored peace of the still water at rest. And the great gold moon climbs slow up the warm soft sky, and the still lake holds its shining road and its scattered stars upon its perfect calm, and the crested hunter sleeps deep and easy on the warm moonlit sand, and the calm mirrored peace of the lake valley lies soft upon him and upon you, drawing your slow breath smoother and stiller and deeper down toward sleep. And when at last the dark carries you onward from this warm bright valley, it will take you forward once more to a high cool country in the first part of the last great age, where the largest of all the swift feathered hunters settles beneath the very first stars of evening. But there is no need to leave the lake yet. The water is so still, and the sand is so warm, and the crested hunter sleeps so peacefully in the lee of his conifers. Rest here as long as you like, in the warm mirrored quiet of the early world night. The lake will keep you, the way it keeps its sleeping hunter, and the high cool country will still be waiting, beyond the ages and the dark, whenever you are ready to drift on toward it. For now, only rest. Only the still lake, and the warm sand, and the soft lapping water, and the slow breath of the crested hunter on the shore, and the deep, calm, mirrored peace of the still lake in the young morning of the world. Drift onward now, one last time, forward through the ages to the first part of the last great age of the dinosaurs, to a high cool country of open woodlands and broad green river valleys and long rolling ridges crowned with conifers. The air here is clear and cool and clean, for the land lies high, and the evenings come on early and linger long, a soft slow fading of the light across the wooded ridges and the green valleys and the winding rivers far below. The day here has been mild and bright, but the day is ending now, and the cool blue dusk comes stealing up out of the valleys and across the high open woodlands, and the whole high country settles, slowly and sweetly, toward its rest. You are standing on a high open ridge, among scattered conifers, looking out over a wide green valley where a broad river winds silver through the gathering dusk far below. The sun has set behind the western ridges, and the sky above the valley is a deep clear band of fading gold and rose, paling upward to a soft deep blue in which the very first stars of the evening are just beginning to show, faint and clear and lovely, one and then another, pricking out in the high cool sky. The air is cool and still and sweet with the smell of conifer and cooling earth, and the only sounds are the soft sigh of the evening breeze through the high needled branches and the faint far murmur of the river in the valley below. It is here, on the high open ridge, beneath the first faint stars, that the great swift hunter has come to rest. She is a Utahraptor, the largest of all the swift-feathered hunters the world has ever made, far larger than the small thieves of the desert or the quiet company by the water, a powerful and magnificent creature the size of a great bear, and yet for all her size she is built on the same light and graceful lines as her smaller kin, and she is clothed like them in soft feathers, a deep rich plumage that the dim light renders in shades of russet and dusky brown, barred and shadowed, beautiful in the failing light. She stands upon the high ridge among the scattered conifers, the first stars above her, the wide valley dim below, and there is a great calm grandeur to her, the calm of the largest and most capable hunter of her world at the peaceful end of her day. She is not hunting. She has hunted in the cool of the morning along the wooded ridges and fed and lain up through the mild day in the shade, and now in the cool blue dusk she has climbed to the high open ridge, as she does many evenings, to stand a while in the last of the light and the first of the stars before she takes her rest. She stands quite still among the conifers, her great feathered head lifted, looking out over the dim green valley and the winding silver river and the fading gold of the western sky, and the cool evening breeze stirs the soft feathers along her flanks and ruffles the deeper plumage of her neck, and she breathes the clean cool air slow and deep, and she is utterly at peace, the great swift queen of the high country at the gentle close of the day. What must it be, do you think, to be the greatest hunter of all your kind, and yet to stand so quietly upon the high ridge in the cool of the evening, watching the first stars come out over the valley, with nothing in your heart but peace? Watch her a while beneath the gathering stars, and perhaps this last gentle dusk will tell you. The light fades further, the gold sinking from the western sky, the rose deepening to violet, and the stars come out thicker and clearer overhead, one after another, until the whole high cool sky is scattered with them, faint and clear and many in the clean thin air. The wide valley below sinks into soft blue shadow, the winding river paling to a thread of dim silver, the far ridges fading to long low shapes against the darkening sky. And the great swift hunter stands upon her high ridge through all of it, watching the stars come out, the cool breeze stirring her feathers, as still and as calm as the conifers around her, as much a part of the peaceful evening as the fading light and the rising stars. When the last of the gold has gone from the west and the stars are all come out, the great hunter turns at last from her watching and moves, soft-footed for all her size, to a sheltered place among the conifers where the ground is soft with fallen needles and the low branches make a screen against the cool night breeze. And there, in that sheltered place beneath the high needled branches, with the first stars clear above her, she lowers herself to rest. She folds her powerful legs beneath her and settles her great feathered body down into the soft needles, and curls her long feathered tail about her, and lays her great head down at last along her side, beneath the soft plumage of her shoulder, and her feathers fluff full and warm against the cool, and her great sides rise and fall slow and deep, and she sinks toward sleep. The high country settles deep into its night around her. The cool breeze sighs soft through the conifers and falls still. The river murmurs faint and far in the dim valley below. The small creatures of the high woods have gone to their nests and burrows, and the night creatures move soft and quiet through the dark, and the stars shine clear and many and cold in the clean thin air, wheeling slowly over the high sleeping ridges and the dim green valley and the sheltered place among the conifers where the great swift hunter lies curled in her warm feathers, deep in her peaceful rest beneath the first and now the many stars. She sleeps now, the largest and the gentlest seeming of all the swift hunters in her rest, curled warm among the needles in the lee of the high conifers, her great feathered body still as the sleeping ridge, her breath the slow deep tide it has always been. Her feathers keep the cool night from her. The sheltering branches screen her. The soft needles cradle her. And she sleeps the deep good sleep of the greatest hunter of the high country, wholly at home upon her own high ridge, beneath her own clear stars, with nothing in all the cool wide night to trouble her, only the soft sigh of the breeze and the faint far murmur of the river and the deep clear peace of the high country at rest. You sit upon the high ridge in the cool clear dark, among the scattered conifers, beneath the wheeling stars, and the great clean peace of the high country settles all through you, and your breath grows slow and deep and even with the slow deep breathing of the great hunter asleep among the needles. There is a particular peace to high open country at night, a clear and spacious and lofty peace, a sense of being lifted up near the stars, of clean cool air and wide dim valleys falling away below and the whole vast wheeling sky spread clear and close above, and it fills you, here on the high ridge in the cool dark, with a deep and lofty calm, a sense of resting near the very roof of the sleeping world. How long has the high country kept its long cool evenings, its early dusks and its clear bright stars, its great hunters climbing to the high ridges to watch the light go and then lying down to rest among the conifers? Longer than the ridges themselves, perhaps, which the slow ages raise and wear away. Longer than memory. The great swift hunter who sleeps upon the ridge tonight is the last and largest of a long line of swift-feathered hunters you have met across the whole long evening of the ancient world, from the small thieves of the cooling desert sand to the quiet company by the misty water to this great calm queen upon her high cool ridge, and all of them, small and great, have loved the dusk and lain down to rest at the gentle end of their days in the same deep peace, the peace the old world kept for all its sleepers, the peace that has carried you, too, all through this long quiet evening, from country to country and age to age, toward your own deep rest. The great hunter stirs once among the needles, the long feathered tail sliding soft across the ground, and then she is still, her great head laid along her side, her breath slow and deep and even. The breeze sighs once more through the high conifers and falls still. The river murmurs faint and far below. And the clear high stars will slowly over the sleeping ridge and the dim green valley and the great swift hunter curled warm in her feathers beneath them, dreaming whatever deep calm dreams the greatest of the swift hunters might dream, while the high cool night keeps its last long gentle watch over her, and over the whole sleeping ancient world, and over you. Rest here a while in the cool clear dark, upon the high ridge among the conifers, beneath the many wheeling stars, in the company of the great hunter asleep among the needles. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. The high country will keep its clear cool watch, as it has kept it through ages without end, and the morning is far away, and between now and then there is only this clean lofty peace, only the soft sighing breeze and the faint far river and the clear bright stars wheeling slowly overhead, only the rest. Let the cool clear air hold you. Let the high wide silence fill you. Let the slow deep breathing of the great swift hunter draw your own breath down, and down, and down, toward the deep good sleep that waits for you now at the end of the long evening of the ancient world. For this is the last of the great hunters you will visit tonight, and the last of the ancient evenings, and there is nowhere further you need to drift. You have walked beside the great river at the end of the day, and stood by the still warm water beneath the sail of the river hunter, and rested in the cooling desert sand among the small swift thieves, and lain at the edge of the golden fern prairie by the old Jurassic king, and breathed the misty dusk of the northern forest with the gentle hunter who loved it, and crossed the wide windswept plain with the lone wanderer, and gathered by the still pool with the quiet company, and walked the warm bright lakeshore in the young morning of the world, and climbed at last to this high cool ridge beneath the first stars with the great swift queen of the high country. And everywhere you have gone, the evening has been kind, and the night has been gentle, and the great hunters have lain down in peace, and so now may you. The cool evening breeze sighs soft through the high conifers and falls still, and rises again, and falls still, a slow gentle breathing of the high country as it settles into its night, and each time it stirs it carries the clean sweet smell of conifer and cooling earth across the high ridge where the great swift hunter sleeps among the needles. Far below in the dim valley the broad river winds on through the dark, its faint murmur rising thin and soft to the ridge, and the first owls of the high woods call low and slow to one another across the wooded slopes, and the whole high country sinks deeper and deeper into its clear cool rest. The stars are all come out now, thick and clear and many in the clean thin air of the heights, more stars than you have seen in any of the countries you have traveled through tonight, crowding the whole vast sky from the dark western ridges to the dim eastern valley, wheeling their slow bright way over the sleeping high country. And among them runs the great pale river of distant light, arched clear and bright across the whole dark sky, and beneath it the high ridges lie long and dark and still, and the great swift hunter sleeps curled in her warm feathers among the needles, deep in her peaceful rest beneath the wheeling stars. She is the largest of all the swift-feathered hunters the world has made, and yet curled here in sleep among the soft fallen needles, her great head laid along her side beneath the warm plumage of her shoulder, her long tail wrapped about her, her feathers fluffed full and soft against the cool, she seems not fearsome at all but only gentle, only peaceful, only a great warm sleeping creature at rest at the end of her day, as much at home upon her high cool ridge as any of the small swift sleepers you have watched tonight in the desert and by the water. A night creature stirs softly among the conifers along the ridge, and the great hunter's ear flicks once in her sleep and then is still, for there is nothing in the small soft sounds of the high night that troubles her, nothing in all the cool wide dark that she need fear, only the sigh of the breeze and the murmur of the river and the soft calls of the owls and the deep clear peace of the high country at rest. Her feathers keep the cool night from her. The sheltering branches screen her. The soft needles cradle her. And she sleeps the deep good sleep of the greatest hunter of the high country, wholly safe upon her own high ridge beneath her own clear stars. There is a clear and lofty peace to high open country at night that the low warm lands cannot give, a sense of being lifted up near the very roof of the sleeping world, of clean cool air and wide dim valleys falling away on every side and the whole vast wheeling sky spread clear and close and bright above, and to rest here on the high ridge in the cool dark is to feel a deep and spacious calm settle through you, a sense of resting high and clear and safe above the whole quiet sleeping world, near the patient turning stars. And as you sit upon the high ridge beneath the wheeling stars, you think of all the countries you have traveled through across the long evening of the ancient world, and of all the great hunters you have watched lie down to rest, and you understand that they were never monsters at all, those great hunters of the old world, but only creatures, only neighbors of the dusk, who walked their days and hunted their living and came home at evening, every one of them, to lie down in the cooling dark and sleep, exactly as you are about to sleep now, beneath the same patient stars. The great swift hunter breathes slow and deep among the needles, and the breeze sighs soft and falls still, and the river murmurs faint and far below, and the clear high stars will slow above the sleeping ridge, and the whole ancient world, age upon age of it, every country you have walked tonight, lies quiet and safe and still beneath the gentle dark. There is nowhere further to go now, and nothing further to do, and no reason at all to stay awake, only this last high quiet ridge, and the wheeling stars, and the great hunter sleeping in her feathers, and the deep good rest that waits for you now at the end of the long, long evening of the world. Let the cool clear dark of the high country hold you now, the way the sheltering branches and the soft warm needles hold the great swift hunter in her rest. Let the soft sigh of the breeze and the faint far murmur of the river draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past the last of the day, down past the last of your waking thoughts, down toward the deep good sleep that waits for you here beneath the first and now the many stars, at the gentle close of the last ancient evening. Far down the wooded ridge an owl of the high country calls low and slow into the cool dark, a soft round hooting note, and waits, and is answered from somewhere across the dim valley, fainter, and then the two soft voices fall silent together, and the high country sinks back into its clear deep quiet, and the great swift hunter sleeps on among the needles, undisturbed, her great sides rising and falling slow and deep beneath the wheeling stars. The cool clean air of the heights smells of conifer resin and cooling stone and the faint green breath of the river valley far below, and it lies clear and still over the high ridge now that the evening breeze has died, and the stars burn sharp and bright and many in it, nearer and clearer here on the high ground than in any of the low warm countries you have traveled through tonight, the whole vast sky spread close and brilliant above the sleeping ridge. A small creature of the high woods rustles softly through the fallen needles along the ridge, going about its quiet night business among the dark conifers, and it passes close by the great sleeping hunter without fear and without harm, for the night is the night, and the day's long business is set aside, and the great and the small alike are only sleepers now beneath the same clear stars, sharing the same cool dark, carried together toward the same far morning. There is a clear high peace upon this ridge that gathers up all the gentler peace of all the countries you have traveled through tonight, the warm peace of the great river and the still delta, the clean cold peace of the desert, the deep green peace of the prairie and the forest, the wide spare peace of the plain, the soft peace of the watered pool and the calm mirrored peace of the lake, all of them gathered now into this last clear lofty quiet, high and cool and bright beneath the crowded stars. Let the cool clear dark of the high country hold you now the way the soft warm needles and the sheltering branches hold the great swift hunter in her rest. Let the faint far murmur of the river in the valley below draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past the last of the long evening, down past the last of your waking thoughts, down toward the deep good sleep that waits for you now beneath the first and now the many stars, at the gentle close of the world's last ancient evening. The great hunter draws one long slow breath among the needles, and lets it go, and is still, and the cool night lies clear and quiet over the high ridge and the dim valley and the long dark wooded slopes, and the river murmurs faint and far below, and the stars will slow and bright above, and the whole sleeping ancient world, age upon age of it, lies hushed and safe and still in the gentle dark, and there is nothing left now but rest, deep and clear and complete, waiting all around you. And you understand, sitting here at the last on the high cool ridge beneath the wheeling stars, that the great peace which carried you through all those ancient evenings, from the young warm morning of the world to this clear high close of the day, is the same deep peace that is reaching for you now, the old kind quiet that the world has kept for all its sleepers since the very beginning, ready now to carry you the last small distance, over the soft edge of waking, down into the warm dark depths of sleep. Low over the dark eastern ridges a great pale moon has begun to rise, lifting slow and calm above the high country, and its soft silver light spreads westward over the wooded ridges and the dim green valley far below, gleaming on the winding thread of the river, silvering the high conifers, laying long soft shadows across the needled ground where the great swift hunter sleeps, until the whole high country lies bathed in pale moonlight beneath the climbing moon and the wheeling stars. The great swift hunter sleeps on among the needles in the soft moonlight, her deep feathered flanks silvered where the light falls upon it, her great head laid along her side, her long tail curled warm about her, and the cool clear air lies still over the high ridge, and the river murmurs faint and far below, and the moon climbs slow and bright up the crowded sky, and she sinks ever deeper into her clear and peaceful rest. From the high moonlit ridge the whole sleeping country lies spread out soft and dim below, ridge beyond wooded ridge fading away pale into the moonlit dark, the dim valley cradling its silver river, the far slopes black and still beneath the climbing moon, and over all of it the vast clear sky wheels slow and bright, and the deep clear peace of the high country lies upon the whole wide moonlit land. There is a clear and lofty wonder to the high country beneath the moon, a sense of resting near the very roof of the sleeping world, high and cool and bright, with the moonlit valleys falling away on every side and the great calm moon climbing close above and the whole vast wheeling sky spread clear and brilliant overhead, and to rest here on the high ridge in the soft moonlight is to feel a deep and spacious calm settle through you, lifted up and quiet and clear near the patient turning stars. Let the cool clear moonlit dark of the high country hold you now the way the soft warm needles and the sheltering branches hold the great swift hunter asleep beneath the climbing moon. Let the faint far murmur of the river and the deep clear silence of the heights draw your breath down, slow and deep and even, down past the last of the long evening, down toward the deep good sleep that waits for you now beneath the great gold moon and the many wheeling stars, at the gentle close of the world's last ancient evening. The great hunter draws one long slow breath among the moonlit needles, and lets it go, and is still, and the moon climbs slow and bright above the sleeping ridge, and the river murmurs faint and far below, and the whole ancient world, age upon age of it, every country you have traveled tonight, lies hushed and silver and safe beneath the climbing moon and the wheeling stars, and there is nothing left now but rest, deep and clear and complete, waiting all around you in the soft moonlit dark. The deep of the night lies clear and cool over the high country now, the moonlit ridges fading away pale into the dim moonlit dark, the silver river winding faint through the sleeping valley far below, the high conifers black and still against the crowded stars, and there is only the faint far murmur of the river and the soft sigh of the cooling heights, only the deep clear peace of the high country at rest beneath the climbing moon. And the great gold moon climbs slow and bright above the sleeping ridge, and the whole ancient world lies hushed and silver and safe beneath it, every country you have traveled this long evening folded now into one great quiet, and the great swift hunter sleeps deep and easy among the moonlit needles, and the deep clear peace of the high country lies soft upon her and upon you, drawing your slow breath all the way down at last toward the deep good sleep that waits. And as you rest at the last upon the high moonlit ridge, you carry with you all the gentle country you have traveled through tonight, all the great hunters you have watched lie down in peace, the old queen by the river and the sailed fisher in the warm delta and the small swift thieves in the cooling sand, the old king on the fern prairie and the gentle one who loved the dusk, the lone wanderer of the wide plain and the quiet company by the misty pool and the crested walker of the still bright lake, and now this great swift queen of the high cool ridge, every one of them sleeping now beneath the same climbing moon, and you understand that the long evening of the ancient world was only ever a long gentle settling toward this, toward rest, toward the deep good sleep that holds the whole old world tonight, and holds you too, safe in the moonlit dark. Stay here as long as you like, beneath the wheeling stars, on the high ridge, in the cool clear peace of the last ancient evening. The great hunter sleeps among the needles. The valley sleeps below. The whole old world sleeps, age upon age of it, every country you have walked through tonight, all of it lying quiet and safe and still beneath the same slow wheeling stars, all of it breathing slow and deep in the same great peace, and you among it now, one more quiet sleeper in the gentle dark, carried softly toward your rest on the slow tide of the breathing world. And now there is nowhere further to travel, and nothing further to do, and no reason at all to stay awake. The long evening of the ancient world is over. You have walked through age upon age of it, from the young morning of the dinosaurs by the still warm lake to the high cool ridge beneath the first stars, and everywhere you have gone the day has ended gently and the great hunters have lain down in peace, and now it is your turn, and only your turn, to rest. Let the high ridge and the wheeling stars grow soft and dim and far away. Let the great swift hunter sleeping among the needles fade gently into the dark, and the dim green valley below her, and the faint far murmur of the river. Let all the countries you have walked through tonight settle softly into one another and into the deep warm dark, the river and the delta, the desert and the prairie, the forest and the plain, the pool and the lake and the high ridge, all of them sinking now into one great quiet, one great peace, one great slow breath of the sleeping world. There is nothing left now that you need to hold. The day you have lived, whatever it held, is done, and you may set it down. Let your body grow heavy. Let it sink into whatever holds it, the way the great hunters sank into the warm sand and the soft needles and the cool moss at the end of their long days. Feel the weight of your arms and your legs grow soft and heavy and still. Feel your breath go slow and deep and even, in through the quiet dark and out again, slower and softer with each breath, drawing you down, and down, and down. There is nothing to fear in the dark. You have seen that tonight, in country after country, age after age, the dark is only the world lying down to rest, the gentle truce that falls when the light goes, the time when every creature, the hunter and the hunted alike, sets the day aside and sleeps. The dark is kind. The night is long and gentle and safe, and the morning is far away, and there is nothing between now and then but rest. Let it come. Let it carry you. Let yourself sink down into the deep warm quiet, the way the whole old world has sunk into it all around you. Let your thoughts grow slow and soft and far apart, the way the stars come out one by one in the deepening sky, until the spaces between them grow wide and dark and still, and the thoughts themselves drift and fade and let you go. There is nothing you need to think about now. There is nothing you need to remember, and nothing you need to plan. There is only the dark, and the quiet, and the slow soft tide of your own breathing, carrying you gently down toward sleep, the way the river carried itself down toward the sea, slow and patient and sure, all through the long quiet night. Rest now. Let the breathing of the ancient world be your own breathing, slow and deep and even. Let the great peace that carried you from country to country and age to age carry you now the last small distance, over the soft edge of waking and down into the warm dark depths of sleep. There is nothing more to do. There is nowhere more to go. There is only rest, deep and gentle and complete, waiting for you now, all around you, holding you, as the night holds the sleeping world. Sleep now. Sleep, and rest, and let the long kind dark hold you safe until the morning. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel as it really helps us continue making more content. Anyways, see you in the next one. And before you drift all the way down into sleep, I would love to know, of all the great hunters we visited tonight, across all those ancient evenings, which one would you most want to rest beside under the stars, and what corner of the world are you listening from tonight? Leave your answer in the comments if you like, and then let your eyes close, and let the old world fade, and sleep well.